The following program is rated TV MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
They gave me my theme music!
This is a Planet Fanatics production.
What is up and what's going on, fellow fanatics? It has been entirely too long since the last time that I've spoken with you guys, seen you guys, and we've talked and chatted it up. But things are fixed on our end, seemingly. Things are fixed on our end, and I do appreciate everybody being so patient, and I appreciate all of you guys being here tonight for something that I've been wanting to discuss with you guys for a while, and that is this Eyes of Wakanda stuff that's going on, everything going on with that. There's a bunch of stuff that's been going on in these past few weeks that I've been wanting to cover. Some of the stuff we've kind of missed. Some of the things have had developments that we will touch on, but for the most part, this was the one thing that I definitely want to touch on with you guys. As you guys know, we are going to be preparing for Eyes of Wakanda, and preparing for that, we are going to be obviously discussing everything with you guys. So I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate Andre, appreciate you being here. Gray, Naries, appreciate it. Raptor Cloak, JD, Xavier, appreciate all of you guys being here. The ones that are watching and have not gotten into chat, appreciate you guys. If you would, everyone would please smash that like button. I appreciate that as well. And we're going to get into everything that's going on with the Eyes of Wakanda for what we know so far. Now, before we get into everything, let me go ahead and pull my show notes up here. Upon the many things that we missed during our trying to get the studio together and trying to fix audio issues and things like that. And one of the many things that we missed was Bob Iger's discussion that he had when he was talking about changes behind the scenes and things that are going to be happening within Marvel Studios, and not just within Marvel Studios, but a lot of their different properties, Star Wars, but he put the main emphasis on Marvel. And the main emphasis that he put on Marvel was because Marvel obviously is the breadwinner right now when it comes to over there at the mouse. Even though Marvel has not had the best past few years, that's no secret, and Bob Iger has made that very plain that that's no secret in the article or in the interview that he most recently did. So in that interview, he discussed some of the things that they were going to be doing at Marvel Studios as far as cutting back on some things, putting more importance on certain characters, trying to, doing away with certain things that just don't make sense. Things we've all, as fans, been saying for the longest. It would make sense if you got rid of this. It would make sense if you did this, or it makes sense, X, Y, and Z. And one of the things that Bob Iger was talking about was that projects being canceled over at Marvel Studios, quietly canceled over at Marvel Studios. And at the time, and again, this is why I said that, we've been so far behind. But at the time, I thought to myself, maybe Eyes of Wakanda was on that list because something had come out on Twitter from some other scoopers saying that Vision Quest, Eyes of Wakanda, the Wiccan series, Witches Road series, the series that involves Wanda, and Armor Wars were among some of the projects that were going to be quietly canceled over at Marvel Studios, and along with more of the presentations and things that they were doing as far as like, I think the Marvel spotlight things and things like that. They were talking about things that they were going to just quietly do away with. I think now the newest rumor is that Marvel is now going to put more focus on the street level things on Disney Plus. Disney Plus is going to be home to more of the street level heroes and stories that take place within the Marvel universe before they start jumping into, and anything that's going to be cosmic level or things like that are going to be on the big screen. So they're going to put more focus on that those street level performances there. So At that time, like I said, I thought maybe Eyes of Wakanda may have been on that list, but it seems like it is not going to be. Now, here's some of the things that we do know currently about Eyes of Wakanda. Here's what we know. Eyes of Wakanda's episodes are said to be around 30 minutes long. It will feature time travel and Iron Fist, who will also appear in the Eyes of Wakanda series. And that is coming from Daniel RPK. Now, 30 minutes long is how long the episodes are going to be, and I don't know if we don't know much about the series besides what we know. What Brad Winterbaum, who has recently come out, been doing a lot of talking for Marvel Studios as of late, but Brad Winterbaum came out and said that that they had found the director. The director was going to be Todd Harris. We're going to get into that in a moment. The director was going to be Todd Harris, who was a storyboard writer over at Marvel Studios. Not just that, he's been a storyboard writer for several different projects, but most of his work comes from superhero projects involved with Marvel. And so in that, he had said that Todd was going to be taking over as director of this series. Now, he didn't mention how long the episodes are going to be, nor did he mention that we are only going to have, and this could be a rumor, we don't know if this is true or not. The series is only 4 episodes. And again, I don't know if this is true or not. I'm going off of some of the research and things that I've done. You guys know I'm not going to come to you guys with bullshit or come to you guys with things that I'm not knowledgeable on. But this is what we know so far from what the rumors are. The episodes are going to be 30 minutes long. The episodes are only going to be 4. There's only going to be 4 episodes within this series. So if we're taking there's 4 episodes within this series, and Daniel RPK, that is coming from Daniel RPK, that they're 30 minutes. Not that there's 4 episodes, but that they're 30 minutes. Daniel RPK, being the notable scooper and insider that he is, coming out and saying that Iron Fist is also supposed to appear in the series. And this is not something that's new. This is something that we have known kind of for a while, that when it came to the rumors and things swirling around, the small rumors and things that were swirling around Eyes of Wakanda, was that Iron Fist was going to appear at one point. And not just in this version of Iron Fist, is also supposed to appear in Shang-Chi 2 and things like that moving forward. But if there's 4 episodes and they're 30 minutes long, and we have to account that maybe 3 to 5 minutes of that is going to be credits, so maybe 25 minutes long. If the episodes are 25 to 30 minutes long, there's 4 episodes, and I'm going to get to the synopsis of what they say the series is supposed to be about. If Iron Fist is going to cameo in one of these episodes, and from what we know about Iron Fist cameo in this episode, it's going to be, we're going to take a better look into Kunlun, one of the 7 cities of heaven, and things like that, involving the Iron Fist lore and the Iron Fist mythology and things like that. And we're, if that's what we're doing with Iron Fist, then doesn't Iron Fist then take away one of the episodes that we're supposed to be focused on, the Wakandan history, the history of Wakanda and things like that? And I'm going to get to the synopsis and everything that's going on with that, but I don't understand the 4 episodes. I don't understand why it would be 25 to 30 minutes long, especially if it's now sacred if it's now a part of the sacred timeline. Something else that Brad Winterbaum said. The events of the show will be a part of the sacred timeline. This is something else we know. The series will also explore the mythological aspects of Wakanda while focusing on its isolated nation's history. The mythological aspects of Wakanda. So that kind of takes me back to that. If Iron Fist is going to cameo, and we're going to be in that rumor that about exploring Kunlun and things like that, it also said exploring the mythology of dragons and things. What the fuck does the mythology of dragons have to do with Wakanda? If we're supposed to be exploring the mythological aspects of Wakanda whilst focusing on the isolated nation's history, help me. Am I wrong? I'm confused. Why we're studying dragons? Isn't that something for the Shang-Chi series or the second movie, or something that should have been done maybe in Shang-Chi, the first one? Or even if you want to do your Iron Fist shit, explore that in Shang-Chi too. I am sick and tired of Wakanda, not just Wakanda, the Black Panther series in the MCU, getting the short end of the MCU stick. And when I say that, we were told, because of the absence of T'Challa being selfishly killed off of screen, that we were going to explore Wakanda in its entirety in Wakanda Forever. That didn't happen. And we've talked about that, and I'm not going to get into that, but we've talked about that extensively. We've talked about how we were told that we were going to explore every corner of Wakanda, and how that this series or this movie was so integral to Phase 4. It was not integral to Phase 4, nor did we explore every fucking corner of Wakanda. There were tribes that should have been present in Wakanda. For example, the Water Tribe. If we're dealing with water, why the fuck are we not? Where's the Water Tribe during this time? The Border Tribe wasn't even. The absence of the Border Tribe wasn't even discussed. There was no exploring of Wakanda in Wakanda Forever. The only thing that we learned about Wakanda, and I've said this so many times, is that they're vulnerable. That they're not as strong as we think they are in the MCU. Because if Namor can just walk in anytime he wants to, and he did it several times, walked in on the Queen Mother and Siri while they're having a private conversation, no one's around, walked in and drowned the Queen Mother, pointed to Siri and said, "You're queen now." And then Wakanda took the fight the intelligence of Wakanda here in the MCU. The water people, the Atlanteans, Talakans, whatever they were in Wakanda Forever, coming from the water, already flooded Wakanda. The brightness of Wakanda in the MCU thought to themselves, let's take the fight to them in the water. So we didn't learn anything about Wakanda in Forever. There was nothing learned about Wakanda. So again, I have a hard time really truly believing that we are going to explore the mythological aspects of Wakanda while focusing on the isolated nation's history if Iron Fist is going to take one of the 4 25 to 30 minute episodes. The focus should be on Wakanda as a whole, especially, and I'm going to get to the T'Challa stuff in a minute, especially if, again, you are now... With this series taking place way before T'Challa, not way before T'Challa, but taking place before T'Challa, especially if you're once again taking T'Challa out of his own franchise, you should put focus on Wakanda the way that it was promised we were going to have focus on Wakanda in the movie. But moving on from there, it goes on to say that Iron Fist is rumored to be in the show, and the show will touch on the history of dragons and their ties to Kunlun. And then it goes on to say, but one of the 7 capital cities, in heaven, legacy of Iron Fist, blah 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 blah. The series will premiere on Disney Plus. It's also crazy to me too, because earlier this week, earlier this week, there was the rumor that Aaron Taylor Johnson was going to be replacing James Bond replacing Daniel Craig as James Bond, as the next James Bond. And obviously, that is a character, a fictional character that has been played by many, many, many different actors. And that it's funny when that got brought up earlier this week, and there were so many people that were cheering for it. Again, the weird outrage. There were so many people, and when I say weird outrage, I mean the same people that are telling us to let it go. They're only Chadwick are the same people cheering that Aaron Taylor Johnson is now going to be ushered in as the new, if the rumors are true, that ushered in as the new James Bond. But that made me think when Coogler, back, I think this was during the Forever time. I can't remember if this was during when he was talking about. No, it was. It was during when he was doing his tour for Wakanda Forever. During all his interviews, he stated, and this is quoted. This is an exact quote. I want to make the Black Panther T'Challa a James Bond figure, so I gave Shuri his intelligence to be his Q. Also, I refuse to recast Black Panther T'Challa, thus cutting off all Black Panther. Well, anyway, the quote from him is I wanted to make Black Panther T'Challa a James Bond figure. So I gave the intelligence, blah blah blah. So if that's one thing that he wanted to do, he wanted to make the Black Panther T'Challa a James Bond character. That means that this is a character that other brothers can go on and play. Again, things we've talked about. Other brothers can go on and play. We want other people to go on and portray T'Challa, because I'm going to get to the article that CBR did, and I'm also going to get into something else here. This series is not going to work without T'Challa. There's no way, it doesn't matter what they put in the series. It doesn't matter who cameos in the series or what corners of Wakanda you explore. I said all that at the beginning of we want to see these corners of Wakanda, but in reality, no corner of Wakanda is worth exploring if we're not exploring it with T'Challa. Does that make sense? Even though, yes, we would, they're saying that Wakanda, the Eyes of Wakanda series is going to be this. None of that matters because that's it's honestly no different right now than the X-Men 97 series going on right now. Would you watch the X-Men 97 series if the X-Men are absent? No one would watch that. Would you watch any, and I've gone through these so many times too, would you watch any of these, the Invincibles going on right now? Would you watch Invincible without Invincible? You're taking the franchise's main character away from his franchise, and people have already shown you that they don't care. The only reason that you could say that Wakanda Forever even had any numbers is simply due to the fact that some people, and when I say this, I'm going off of things I've seen on Twitter. I just quote tweeted somebody that said they wanted to go to the film to pay their respects to Chad, and that's fine. Some people went to pay respects to Chadwick. Some people that, none of us know him personally. So we paid our respects from afar in 2020 when he passed. But for some people, closure was going to see Wakanda Forever. Even though they didn't like the film, some people just wanted to see what they were doing, curiosity, or not just see what they were doing, but coupled also with paying their respects to Chadwick Boseman. Also, some people were going into, because they also knew that this was the last time that they were going to get any type of anything as the from T'Challa as the Black Panther. But again, going in, paying your respects, doing whatever. That's what a lot of people are doing. So if you want to throw Wakanda Forever in there and saying it had numbers or it did fine in the box office, you could say that that's the reason that it did okay. It didn't do anything that its predecessor did, but you could say that it did okay numbers wise. And when we say it did okay numbers wise, we're also talking about within a phase where they failed completely. Not just with the decision of not recasting T'Challa, but we're talking about projects even before Wakanda Forever that were going on that were lackluster projects that started the conversation of are the cracks starting to show in Marvel. So we're talking about within a phase that they were already failing. That's really not that's not a ground. It's not an achievement. It's not an achievement at all. So if you want, I'm using that because I know that's an argument that people want to say. Well, Wakanda Forever still did not. Yeah, in a phase that wasn't that those weren't great numbers for Marvel. That wasn't what Marvel expected when they dropped Wakanda Forever. Just like when they dropped the first one, they weren't expecting that $1.3 billion. But as we've talked about millions of times, because it was such a cultural movement, you had people going that didn't even know anything about the Black Panther franchise. You had people that had never heard anything about T'Challa or anything like that. But after they left, were interested in wanting to know more about that character. Some people picked up comics. Some people even because of that Black Panther film became MCU fans and wanted to see what was going on within the MCU. That film changed a lot for Marvel. So of course you can expect when they did Black Panther 2, even though they made the selfish decision that they made, they still thought to themselves that we got a hit, and they didn't. The only reason that they even got any little bit of money in their pockets is because people wanted to pay their respects to Chadwick Boseman and out of curiosity, see what you were doing with the Black Panther franchise. That was one of the main reasons I went, because I had a lot of people telling me, "Oh, don't go, no ticket, no T'Challa," and I agreed with that. That's fine. Like as of now, like for Black Panther 3, you won't catch me in that film. But at the time, as I've always said before, I have to see for myself what exactly they are doing with T'Challa. I have to see that for myself. And once seen for myself, as you guys know, we've talked about this before, after they killed the Queen Mother, that was my exit. That's when I left. So I'm sure they thought to themselves they had a hit with that film. They did not have a hit with that film. So with them, with Coogler saying that he would like T'Challa to be a James Bond type figure, then that means that the character has to live on, that has to be recasted. But with that, as I was just saying about kind of the popularity of how it won't work without T'Challa, I can give you a few examples here. This is an article from 2021. This is when the What If Season 1 came out. And this is what the direct had to say. After 3 successful Disney Plus shows, Marvel Studios' decision to release an animated anthology series took audiences by surprise. Throughout its 9-episode Throughout its 9-episode run, season 1 of What If explored the multiverse alongside the Watcher as Peter took on the quantum realm, related zombies, apocalypse. Peggy Carter received the super soldier serum, and Ultron defeated most of the Avengers and the Mad Titan. Since Marvel Studios considers What If canon, and since it involved the multiverse, the show generated considerable attention. However, not every episode appeared to be a home run with fans due to confusing cameos, issues with continuity, and seemingly contradictory plot points. Now that season 1 of What If has concluded, new data has revealed what viewers really thought of the MCU's animated multiversal tale for Disney+. Then it goes on to say how fans ranked Marvel's What If episodes. Now, there were only 9 episodes, but here's what it says. Information exclusively obtained by the Direct from Whip Media confirmed that Marvel's What If was in fact a hit with audiences, while also revealing which episodes fans connected with most. When asked to rank What If on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, with 5 being the highest, 86% of viewers awarded the animated series 5 stars. This information confirms that the show was successful for Marvel Studios and generated considerable engagement despite some divisiveness with the fan base. Whip Media also discovered that the final title, What If the Watcher Broke His Oath, provided the most popular of the season's episodes. Of course, that was those last two episodes were great. Then it goes on to say, having generated the most engagement throughout online reactions and conversation, the second most popular episode was the season's penultimate story titled What If Ultron Won, while the least popular was the comedic tale of What If Thor Was the Only Child. Now here's the full list of What Ifs, 9 episodes in order from popular to the least. Now, if you look here, it says episode 9, What If, was the most popular episode of season 1. What If the Watcher Broke His Oath? Episode 2, episode 8 was the second most popular, and that was the one if Ultron won. Great episode as well. But for number 3 of the most watched, the most popular, the one that people connected with the most out of your 9 episodes was T'Challa becoming Star-Lord. And we've talked about this before. We've talked about how, because people kept saying, oh, well, Shuri's the Black Panther now. That's fine. It's not fine, but we'll accept it. If you want to make her the Black Panther, we're simply saying do not kill T'Challa. That's the only thing being said here. And one of the things that I used during that Forever time that was proved, that I used this, it was proven, was T'Challa doesn't have to be in the Black Panther suit for T'Challa to be popular. It's T'Challa we're after. It's not the Black Panther we're after. It's T'Challa that we're after. The Black Panther suit simply enhances the character of T'Challa, but the character of T'Challa is the one that we are fascinated in. The character of T'Challa is the one that we are tied to, the ones that we see ourselves in. When we see him sitting on his throne, he is T'Challa, the Black Panther. He's not the Black Panther T'Challa. He's T'Challa, the Black Panther. So with or without your suit, he is still the main character of the franchise. He is still drawing people in. It's not the suit. The suit enhances the brother, but it's not the suit. It's T'Challa, the character. So proven here, right here from your own data, is that out of your 9 episodes, your top 3, T'Challa was in your top 3. So it goes back to something that Bob Iger was saying again 2 weeks ago. How Marvel is trying to put more focus on heroes that are going to put asses in their seats. And again, I think I've said this before. They're sitting here wondering how we're going to put asses back in the seats. They're sitting here wondering if Eyes of Wakanda is truly going to work for us. But you're sitting here wondering that while scratching your head, seeing the data that T'Challa is still one of your most popular characters. Wakanda's not interesting without T'Challa. There are interesting aspects of T'Challa, but again, they are enhanced by T'Challa. There are interesting aspects of Wakanda, but enhanced by T'Challa. It's this weird dance that we're doing, like, oh, well, is this gonna work? No, it's not gonna work without T'Challa. None of it works without T'Challa. It's kind of like what's going on. Well, hold on. I'll save that. Hold on. So they go on to give the rest of the episodes here, but obviously, like, that's the one thing I wanted to show here was that the out of the 9 in the top 3, T'Challa becoming Star-Lord, the character of T'Challa, he is not the Black Panther in this episode. The character of T'Challa that episode was one of the top 3 most popular episodes. So then they go on after that. This is what Brad Winterbaum, and this in a most recent interview, was talking about. Let me find what he was saying. So Brad Winterbaum came out and he said, "We're exploring so many amazing avenues on the animated side of Eyes of Wakanda. More than any show fits right into our sacred MCU timeline continuity. Black Panther director Ryan Coogler is the producer on it. Todd Harris is one of our longtime storyboard artists who directs it. It's about Wakandan history and the mythology, and it's really cool. It looks amazing, and it feels like, okay, I'm getting an animated look into the MCU." And this is what they kind of go on. He went on to say here that Eyes of Wakanda, longtime Marvel Studios storyboard artist Todd Harris pitched the show to Ryan Coogler, and Ryan pitched it to me and Kevin. All I will say is that people did not see it coming. It goes on to say that more information about the series. The series began development back in 2021 with Marvel Studios and Coogler's production company. Then it goes on to say Mark Bernardin has written 2 episodes of the series, while the whole season is rumored to only consist of 4 episodes, just like Marvel Zombies. I don't know what this, and that's another thing too. And not the same thing, or not the same franchise, but Star Wars right now. I don't know if a lot of the Star Wars fans know this or not, but The Acolyte is 8 episodes, and the showrunner or director, I forget which one, most recently did an interview where she said, in her words were, I think the episodes are like 25 to 30 minutes with the finale being 40. So we're getting 6 episodes of 25 to 30 minutes. And again, you have to take account that at least 3 to 4 of those minutes are going to be credits. Where it's supposed to, for a series that was announced in 2019, it's supposed to be this mystery series and things. That's the problem. And Iger addressed it in a way in that interview he did a couple weeks ago where he talked about, trying to keep up with Netflix. This is why Disney can't keep up with Netflix, because you're doing 6 episodes, 8 episode seasons, 30-minute episodes, and nobody that you're not drawing fans in like that. House of the Dragon, Shogun, those episodes that are those series that are hour-long series, The Last of Us, that keep you in there for 40 minutes to an hour, and at the end of that 40 minutes to an hour, you're wanting more. You're on the edge of your seat. You're talking about the episode. I'm even looking at, yes, it's an animated series, but even the difference in Bad Batch and Invincible right now. Invincible is 40 minutes to an hour episodes, and each episode leaves you wanting more. With the Bad Batch, I don't even give a fuck about I know what the M count is. I know, and I'm not trying to get into Star Wars conversations. I know what's going on in the Bad Batch, but the point that I'm making is we're doing this fill-in gap dance where it's these episodes are inconsequential to anything, and at the very end of the season you get your big reveal, and then they expect you to want to care. It's just like She-Hulk. You built up this entire thing for the what team was it? The Intelligentsia. You built up this entire thing that the Intelligentsia was supposed to be this big villain for the show, just to have us do this dance, and it wasn't even anything. That She-Hulk was a disaster. So I don't know why we are doing this 4 episodes deal. Marvel Zombies is supposed to be TVMA, but it's going to only be 4 episodes. I'm sure it's only going to be 25 to 30 minutes long as well. They've got to fix this whole Disney Plus issue. When I go to Netflix, I'll put it this way. I only go to Disney Plus whenever I'm wanting to either feel nostalgia and want to feel the glory days of the MCU, or watch some old Star Wars, or when an episode of something that I've been waiting to drops. That's the only time I'm on Disney Plus. I'm never on Disney Plus cruising through their catalog, finding new things to watch or whatever it is. I don't even know what shows Disney Plus produce. The only time I'm doing things like that is on HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu, things like that. I'm on HBO. I'm on Netflix. I'll go watch a Netflix original, or I'm never watching a Disney Plus original. Like no one does that, and that's it. The issue is, again, the getting people to give a fuck, getting people to to be drawn in, and you cannot do that with 25 minutes. It's just not possible. Then they go on to say, this is about Todd Harris. Harris has been credited as a storyboard artist for X-Men Origins, Wolverine, Deadpool 2, Venom, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Hawkeye, and the Black Panther Wakanda Forever. They go on to say, I would assume that there's a high chance that the other 2 episodes were written by either Harris or Ryan Coogler himself, but that's just an educated guess. This is the synopsis for the series. Throughout Wakandan history, brave warriors have been tasked to travel the world retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts. This is their story. And again, when I first read that, but that's just it. We don't care about these Wakandan warriors going off. It would make it more interesting if you said, throughout Wakandan history, the Black Panther and Brave Warriors have been tasked to travel the blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Something to where it could be something to where you have T'Challa, or it's all, that's what it's always going to come back to where you have T'Challa involved in this. I don't care to see 4 episodes, 25 to 30 minutes long, of Wakandan warriors tasked with retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts. Like, and then how is that integral to the sacred timeline? I don't know. Maybe it's because vibranium is just not special to Wakanda in the MCU. We learned that within Forever, that vibranium is supposed to be special to Wakanda, native to only for within Wakanda. Yes, it's been found. It's been other places in Marvel Comics, people having vibranium, but it is in Wakanda. Everyone has access to it. From what it seems like in the MCU, everyone has access to it. Namor and his people have access to it. So it's just like, I don't know how that fits into the sacred timeline, but not interested in seeing these Wakandan warriors' story chasing down fucking vibranium. Then it goes on to say, as you can guess from the synopsis, it's an anthology series just like What If. One episode of the series is rumored to take place that's blocked out, I don't know what, while another rumor to feature, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to say, that's Iron Fist under there, who helps Wakanda out. Because it's the only person rumored to be in the show. And the series is expected to release later this year. It's interesting. Now, one of the things that also came out was that Todd Harris, the storyboard writer Todd Harris, was going to be taking over. And I believe I do have a picture here of Todd that you guys can see here. Todd Harris. Todd Harris is going to be writing and directing. Directing, and I think maybe wrote 1 or 2 episodes of the show. When this first came out, I jumped the gun on it because I really didn't know much about Todd Harris. I still don't know much about the brother, but from some of the things that I have researched on him, this is, I believe, his first time directing. And with it being his first time directing, I said to myself, Marvel, whatever I said on Twitter, Marvel seems to, or the Black Panther franchise within the MCU seems to always get the short end of the stick. Has his brother directed before? Who is he? Blah, 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 all these things like that. So I had to do my own research on him. And while doing my research on him, I then later tweeted out, after doing research on Todd Harris, I wonder if even he was okay with with not recasting T'Challa. And the reason I said that is because I went to his. There's not much. I mean, you can't really find much on him because he's in the background. He's a storyboard artist, but he does have a Instagram, and on his Instagram, I was able to see that a lot of his drawings and things that he does. He doesn't have any, it's all his Instagram is purely his drawings, and not just his drawings that he's just sketching on his own, but drawings for Marvel movies. But what caught my eye more was the sketches he does on his own. And the reason that made me say, was he even comfortable with them not recasting T'Challa, was because of the sketches. He is heavy pro-black, obviously. I mean, I don't want to say obviously because Nate Moore, but he is heavy pro-black, and that was a question. That was something in my mind too. Was how, who is this brother? Is he pro T'Challa, or is he on this bullshit that let T'Challa die? And I want to say just based off of what I've seen from him, from some of his artwork. This is something he's done. I'll show you some of the things he's done. That he was pro T'Challa. He's not okay really with the killing of T'Challa. Maybe I don't know. I've never talked to the brother or anything like that. But just from some of his sketches and things that he has drawn, I mean, he's got you've got Monica here. You've got, and these are all, most of his page is, if not all of his page, is black characters. He's only drawing and putting emphasis on black characters. And some of you might think, well, why does that matter? Well, it matters because we are talking about Marvel's first black superhero. This should be cradled with care, with someone that is. I don't know Todd like that. I don't know him at all. I'm only going off of what I've seen on his Instagram page. But the Black Panther franchise should be given to someone that is pro-black, given to someone that wants to see black stories thrive, given to someone that is a Black Panther comic fan themselves, that knows the history, that knows the lore, that knows how important the franchise main character T'Challa is to telling the stories that you want to tell in Wakanda, to telling the stories of the Black Panther. Somebody that actually, cares about what fans want to see. We've talked about this many times. There are fans that are in their 60s, 70s, 50s that have been waiting to see this character's stories told out on screen. But here we are as Black Panther fans sitting back watching, a Spider-Man who came in, and I'm a Spider-Man fan too, but a Spider-Man who entered the MCU the same time as Black Panther, get 3 movies and more cameos, and opposed to T'Challa getting the 1 movie and a handful of cameos, and who's died 3 times in the MCU. It must be nice to be a Spider-Man fan. It must be nice to be a Guardians fan. It must be nice to even be an X-Men fan right now in the height of what's going on with 97, to see your characters get paid off, to see the stories you want to see. I mean, I'm a Storm fan, and I know the story that they're currently telling in X-Men 97. But how great that must be. You know what I'm saying? The story that they're currently trying to tell in X-Men 97 when Storm lost her powers and had to go live a normal life. I mean, how great of a comic fan, if you're a comic fan and you know that story and you're a Storm fan, you're looking at that saying, oh, that's so dope. I know what they're doing. How great that must feel. As a Black Panther fan, we don't get that feeling in the MCU. Not just even in the MCU, and I'm going to get to it, even with what's going on in 1943, Rise of Hydra, the video game. Even there, I've said it before. It's this weird hatred, or I don't even know if hatred's the right word, but it's the only word that's popping up in my head right now. It's this weird hatred for T'Challa, or I've said it before. It's the fear. It's the fear of T'Challa himself. It's the fear of what he represents. It's the fear of what he empowers. It's the fear of black men, young men, black men, or black men, black young men, black women, black young women looking up to a strong black character and seeing themselves empowered, whether he be fictional or not, seeing ourselves and being empowered by that, because it does matter. It matters. And that's something I've said it before, it scares the fuck out of people. It scares the fuck out of them. Why? Because you don't want to see a strong black character in power like that. And that's been the theme throughout Hollywood. It's been a theme throughout Hollywood. You don't see these T'Challa's power on the big screen was fleeting. It was momentarily. And even the might of Wakanda even got snuffed within the MCU. Yes, this Queen Mother went to the UN at the very beginning of For Never and made a power play to them. But we've even seen that Wakanda is not the strong black, intelligent, regal, fuck with us if you want to nation that they are in the comics. This even the nation of Wakanda has been snuffed. So it's like that's when we want somebody on this, you want somebody that gives a damn. Here's some of his drawings of BP. Somebody that cares about this franchise just as much as the fans care about this franchise. Here's Luke Cage, I believe. Somebody that, that that is just as upset as we are about this character not portraying or continuing on screen. But like I said, most of his drawings, here's one of Blade, most of his drawings are of a lot of black characters, a lot of black, and there's Balzad. This one of Static is pretty dope. And then he's got one of Storm here. But when I saw this, it just caught my attention because I was like, okay, so clearly he's got more drawings of the Black Panther than anything on his page. So clearly he is a T'Challa fan. And I'm gonna show you that he is a T'Challa fan for real here. He is a T'Challa fan. This is Cold Tiger. This was T'Challa before T'Challa. So for those of you that don't know the story, this was T'Challa. This was the original drawing that Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and them had sent over to Marvel when Jack Kirby created this character. This was the Cold Tiger. They sent him over there. They said, this is what we want. Blah, blah, blah. Marvel said, fuck you. You're not putting that black nigga's face on the cover of a Marvel comic. That's not happening. So then they had to cover it. They did the half mask. Still wasn't good enough. So now you've got, with it is what you've got now. The whole, the Panther suit and everything like this. But this, when I saw this drawing that he did, I was like, okay, so he is a T'Challa fan. He is a Black Panther fan. He gets it. Maybe he was against them not recasting. Maybe he was for it. I don't know. But looking at his drawings, more Black Panther, he is a Black Panther fan. So, and this is something that he drew straight from the movie, from the storyboards, straight from the movie. But like I said, you want somebody on these projects that's going to give a damn and care about care about the character or the IP just as much as us fans do. But I do want to get into what CBR had to say. CBR put out, and Gray had sent this to me on Twitter. CBR had put out an article on this is from December 21st, 2023. So this is an older article as well, but it goes on to play the point here of what we're saying. So this is can the Eyes of Wakanda still thrive during the MCU superhero fatigue phase? And again, well, I'm gonna get to that. Hold on. They go on to say the Black Panther movies were very successful, with the property once poised to be one of the main pillars of the Marvel Cinematic Universe post-Avengers Endgame. Things may have changed following the tragic death of T'Challa actor Chadwick Boseman. Though Black Panther Wakanda Forever was still a success, at the same time, success might be a cat of a different color. Exactly. CBR, I think they get it. This is not the first CBR article we've covered where CBR has been pro the recast. CBR I think they get it. I think they get, you can't make this franchise work without T'Challa. It just doesn't. And they go on to say different color with the property's planned TV spinoff. And then it goes on to say one of the recently announced Marvel Cinematic Universe projects hitting Disney Plus in the future is the animated series Eyes of Wakanda. Set long before T'Challa ever took his nation's throne, this animated series might have been a major draw beforehand. Now, however, the MCU's brand has seen better days, and it may see viewers turning a blind eye to Eyes of Wakanda. And I agree to that last part there where they said maybe beforehand, if major draw beforehand, and I think so too. Maybe before you did what you selfishly did in Wakanda Forever and turned so many people off, that's why the first film wasn't as successful as or the second film wasn't as successful as the first film, because again, like I said, with the first film, it was a cultural movement. You had people that had never even heard of the Black Panther go in and tell people that had never even heard of the Black Panther or Marvel, hey, you got to go check this movie out. People were actually, better example. I told you guys before, we took my basketball team, all three grades. We took the freshmen. We actually took the 8th graders too. We took 8th grade freshmen, juniors, and the 8th grade freshmen, sophomores, juniors. We took 5, and the seniors. We took everybody. We took all of them we ran out of theater. We took them to see the Black Panther film. There were kids on the team. Okay, not everybody's a Marvel fan. We have to remember that not everybody's a superhero Marvel fan in the spaces, sci-fi, weird shit that we're into. A lot of those boys from that team weren't Marvel fans and never picked up a comic and knew who some of these heroes were, but like never sat down and left left the theater, Black Panther fans left the theater asking questions, left the theater wanting to see more. Some of the ones that were interested in wanting to explore more of Marvel wanted to then go see the rest of the cinematic universe thus far. That's it right there. Maybe before you killed the character and had people interested in wanting to see where you were going with T'Challa, and I can already hear the people on Twitter. Well, they're doing that. You're getting the child. No, that's not the same. That's not a recast. What you are simply doing is taking your made up character. And I don't know how many times it's going to take for Marvel to realize that their made up characters aren't working. Just like with everything they tried to do from phases 4 and 5, it's not working. You're going to take that kid, Divine, or whoever is going to play the future, because I still believe they're doing that. Whoever's going to play the future T'Challa, you're going to take that kid or that person, that character, and you're going to take T'Challa's stories from the comics, and you're then going to put those on this imposter and have him play out those stories. And that's not what we want. That's not the same thing at all. They go on to say the cultural movement or the cultural moment of the first Black Panther movie was massive. I was just talking about it. Exactly. Releasing in 2018, the first Marvel Cinematic Universe Black Panther movie was a major success, tying into themes of global Black identity and the African dystopia. Then it goes on to say the movie was able to attract an audience outside of the typical MCU movie. The success saw amass over 1 billion USD at the global box office, and the general hype swayed well into the penultimate story, Avengers Infinity War. Many fans believe that this success was going to see Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther become one of the central pillars of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, essentially replacing the fallen Iron Man, Tony Stark, and Captain America, Steve Rogers. Black Panther's allies in the regard would likely have been Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and perhaps Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange. I can't remember, it was in the Reign of Marvel book. The Reign of Marvel with Julia, I forget her name, but the Reign of Marvel book, she talked about that. She talked about whenever it was that around the set, Tom Holland, Chadwick Boseman, and Brie Larson were sitting there talking about how they were going to be the next big three of the MCU. They were going to take the place of Thor, Iron Man, and Cap, and be the next big three in the MCU. And obviously that didn't happen because of the tragic loss of Chadwick Boseman. But again, I still have said, and I've said many times, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. I mourned in 2020 when Chadwick Boseman passed. I even mourned again when that film was, when I had to watch his him die and then hear it, and so we mourned then. But even in that, you still could have had that. You still could have had Captain Marvel and Spider-Man and the Black Panther as your leads if you just would have recasted T'Challa. Again, no one was ever saying in the second film we needed to see T'Challa. If you needed the time to figure the fuck out how you were going to put him in, get a new actor, make it make sense, that's fine. All we were simply saying was, don't kill the character. Don't make us go sit and watch a funeral of a character that we've loved way before your MCU. Don't make us go sit and watch you bury a character that some of us, that for a lot of us, saw ourselves the very first time in comic books. That's what we were asking. No one was ever saying, we better see T'Challa in Wakanda forever, and you better recast him before. If you needed time to figure it out, but you still could have done that. They go on to say, of course, these potential plans were unpinned following the passing of Black Panther actor Chadwick Boseman. This changed everything with the premise of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, seeing the character of Black Panther T'Challa killed off screen. While the movie didn't make as much as its predecessor, it was still a rousing success, especially considering the performance of many MCU projects since then. Again, you can't, that one I can't agree with, because in phase 4 wasn't a rousing fucking success. So to put that up against other films in Phase 4, well, yeah, that was already an established franchise. Shang-Chi was not. Falcon and Winter Soldier, well, you could say that. What other movies were in Phase 4? Shang-Chi was not. Eternals was not. I don't even remember what other movies came out. Oh, No Way Home did successful because, again, well-known Spider-Man, that's always going to be successful. So yeah, like I can't put that for never in that rousing success category. They go on to say, nevertheless, the decision not to recast T'Challa and have him remain as the protagonist can definitely be seen as taking the wind out of a property's sails for future endeavors, for sure. Again, it's no different. Nobody went and saw that bullshit because Spider-Man wasn't in it. People are starting to wake up with Sony and realize, how many times are we doing this dance with Sony where we have to go watch these Spider-Man projects where Spider-Man's not in the movie? That was and it's no different. It's no different than any project you name with the franchise's main character being absent of the project. Here's one. Not the main characters of the movie at all. But I would say that they are titular characters to the movie. They're very important to the movie. I went and saw on March 8th or March 4th, whenever it came out, Kung Fu Panda 4. And everybody knows that the Kung Fu Panda franchise is a very successful franchise. I mean, to have an animated movie series that is where the films one up each other every time, that's a success. You don't always see that every time. You don't always see that every time with a lot of those animated franchise films. Like I use Wreck-It Ralph as example. Wreck-It Ralph, the first one for me is fantastic. I love the first Wreck-It Ralph film. The second one, it's all right, my opinion. But with the Kung Fu Panda films, they've all done great. Look at Kung Fu Panda 4. In Kung Fu Panda, the first one, you had the Furious 5. The second one, you had the Furious 5. The third one, you had the Furious 5. No, they are not Poe. No, they are not the franchise's main characters, but some people might argue they are, because they've been there with him from the very beginning. So when you took them out of the fourth one, there were a lot of people that had issues with that. A lot of people were wondering, well, where's the Furious 5 and da. You know, people want to see those characters that they relate to. People want to see those characters that they can that make them happy, or that have been there with this franchise or since the franchise's inception. And it's the same thing with the Black Panther. It's no different. People want to see T'Challa. You throw whoever you want in the suit. It's T'Challa we want to see. You can throw Shuri in the suit. It's not going to be successful. You can throw the kid in the suit, it's not going to be successful. But you put T'Challa back on his throne and back in that suit, I promise you every single Black Panther IP, whatever you put out, project that you put out, it's going to be successful every single time. It's no different than, again, look at the X-Men. People have been waiting for the X-Men since Marvel got the X-Men back. It's an animated series, and look what it is doing for Marvel, because people have been waiting for the X-Men. People give a fuck about the X-Men. People don't give a fuck about Shang-Chi. People don't give a fuck about the Eternals. People don't give a fuck about the Marvels. People don't give a fuck about what's something else that you've done? Agatha. People don't give a fuck about Who else we got out there? Moon Knight. No one gives a fuck about those properties that way. Now, people care in a way. People do care in a way. Like, when I say people care, like, oh, the shows were fine or whatever. You have your Moon Knight fans. I'm not saying there aren't Moon Knight fans. Hell, Trey, one of my past co-hosts, was a major Moon Knight. You have your Moon Knight fans. You got your Eternal fans. But what I'm saying is the overall. You want that feeling of that old MCU feeling? It's what Iger was talking about putting emphasis back on characters that matter. That's a character that matters. T'Challa is a character that matters. You want asses back in the seats for the Black Panther stuff? You put T'Challa back on the screen. It's just that simple. They go on to say the loss of T'Challa may not bode well for the Black Panther property. It's not. As mentioned, Wakanda Forever did well in spite of lacking the Black Panther himself. While this points to the idea that the property can exist without T'Challa, it cannot. That might not be necessarily so. A large part of the movie's draw was the fact that it was essentially a tribute, heartfelt goodbye to both the Black Panther and his actor. Exactly. That's the only reason people went and saw the film the first time, or people that were just curious as to what are they doing? Where are they going with this? Then they went on to say that. Where was I? King T'Challa was a major draw for the property, especially among black men and young black boys. Black Panther was the only major Black Panther was the only major Black Marvel hero with his own movie that wasn't merely a spin-off / derivative character or a mantle swap. But remember, it's all about the mantle. Remember that. That's what we've been told. It's about a mantle, about the fucking mantle. It's not about the goddamn mantle. Thus, losing him is a major blow to the consumers' want from the franchise. Let me read that again because I think there were some non-recasters in the back that might not have heard that. So I'm going to start at this part here. A large part of the movie's draw was the fact that it was essentially a tribute / heartfelt goodbye to both the Black Panther and his actor. Then it goes on to say King T'Challa was a major draw for the property, especially among black men and young black boys. Black Panther was the only major black Marvel hero with his own movie that wasn't merely a spinoff, a derivative character, or your fucking mantle swap. Thus, losing him is a major blow to what consumers want from the franchise. What consumers want from the franchise. This is what we want to see. So losing T'Challa, the franchise's main character, the franchise is dead at that point. The franchise is dead at that point. You have taken away what we care about the most. Then it goes on to say, Eyes of Wakanda is set in the generations before T'Challa became the Black Panther. Thus, there's no way the character that viewers already fell in love with will show up, regardless of his being played / voiced by Chadwick Boseman. Thus, there's instantly a drop in potential interest from the more casual audience. I wouldn't say just the more okay. I'd say from the more casual audience, maybe. That made the first no. I would even say the casuals. I'm even going to say the casuals because, as I said, there were people some of those kids from the team that we had that we took to the theater that didn't know shit about Marvel or the Black Panther or any of that left Black Panther fans. So then, if those same kids have not paid attention to anything outside in the MCU outside of the Black Panther stuff, and they hear, oh, there's a new Eyes of Wakanda series. I have not watched anything outside the Black Panther franchise in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but because I love the Black Panther film, I want to see what they're doing with this. If they go to that and see there's no T'Challa, how instantly disappointed, and once again, viewers that you're losing. People that don't give a fuck unless T'Challa's in it. It's no different. Thus, there's instantly a drop-off potential interest from casual audience that made the first Black Panther movie a worldwide success. That's without even getting into the fact that it's an animated project that's on the Disney Plus streaming service. On that note, Disney Plus as a whole has been a part of the issue with the current aurora surrounding the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Then it says currently the constant MCU projects that are being released theatrically and on Disney Plus the Disney Plus service have diminished consumers' interest in the brand as a whole. This has furthered the fear of superhero fatigue. And again, we've talked about this. It's not a superhero fatigue. That's again proven with X-Men 97. It was proven with Guardians of the Galaxy. It's people simply giving a fuck. People going to see things that they give a fuck about. No one gave a fuck about Eternal, so no one went. No one gave a fuck about the Marvels, so no one went. But people gave a fuck about X-Men 97. Better. No one gave a fuck about She-Hulk. People were talking about, well, Disney Plus is this, Disney Plus is dead, Disney dead. Look at X-Men 97. Look at the numbers for X-Men 97. Look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores for X-Men 97, both critic and audience scores. Then go look at them for She-Hulk. Go look at them for Moon Knight. Go look at them for Ms. Marvel. Go look at them for Falcon and Winter Soldier. Go look at them for all those other. People are simply tuning in to what people simply give a fuck about. That's simply it. No, Acolyte, dead on arrival. Dead on fucking arrival. No one is, mark my words, when it comes out in July, I'm going to talk about it with you. No one's going to watch The Acolyte because people simply don't give a fuck. You've tainted the audience so much in the Star Wars fandom that now people just simply don't give a fuck. The difference is there's no progression. We're not moving forward. There's no progression. We're not moving forward. Even with this Eyes of Wakanda series, this is set in the past. We're not moving forward. And it's the same thing with the Star Wars stuff. Everything is a gap in between. They're not moving forward. That Acolyte series is going to be dead on arrival because simply people don't give a fuck. Madam Web, no one gave a fuck, so no one went. Dead on arrival. It's going to be the same thing with an Eyes of Wakanda series. Now, some people might argue, well, Darius, no, people are still going to watch the Eyes of Wakanda series. People watched Ahsoka too, but the viewership fucking declined because people stopped giving a fuck about, because you have writers and directors and people are part of stories that aren't truly cultivating the story or fans like we are, that aren't taking the story where we want the story to go. You've got people that are setting their own agendas and making this slow ass burn, these slow ass stories at the end of each series. It's like, oh, well, the whole thing with Ahsoka was, well, we got to get to this planet. We got to get to the unknown regions. Okay, we finally got here. Now we got to get off this planet. And that was the whole premise of the fucking. So it's the same thing with an Eyes of Wakanda series. People aren't going to give a fuck because you've tainted this franchise already. You've tainted the franchise. No one's the viewer. I would give maybe the first episode, and I say maybe because it's animated. They've already mentioned that. CBR mentioned 1, it's animated. 2, you've tainted the Black Panther franchise, so maybe people won't give a fuck outside of the above average casuals that might want to tune in just to see what are they doing. But I know a lot of people on Twitter that are already fans or are pro recast aren't going to be tuning in because these are the same people that haven't seen Wakanda Forever because they're boycotting it. You've got people that are boycotting a franchise because they are not liking what you're doing with it. Better example. Remember when Obi-Wan came out, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series? I know I keep using Star Wars, but Star Wars and Marvel are both failing under Disney right now. You look at the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. For my Star Wars fans out there, I said when they announced the series, for fucking why? It doesn't make sense for Obi-Wan to have a show. It breaks canon completely. I digress. So why are we having an Obi-Wan Kenobi show? Well, the show sucked. We all hated it. We were, episode 4 ran and we were like, oh my God, this sucks. Oh, blah, 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 blah. The Darth Vader shit was dope because, that's what Disney and Star Wars always get you with. Even when Star Wars is failing, they want to, dangle Vader in front of you. Well, here's Vader. Aren't you happy now? The whole, anyway, I digress. But there was a person on YouTube, I don't remember his name, that made their own version. They took the Obi-Wan show from Disney Plus, cut out shit that didn't need to be in there, enhanced shit that could have been better, and posted it on YouTube. Everyone that saw that said, and I was one of them, I saw it, what a fucking better version of the Obi-Wan show. You could have taken what you drug us along for 6 goddamn weeks for and turned it into a 2-hour movie. Easily could have been done with the Obi-Wan show. And I say that for this Eyes of Wakanda bullshit. 4 episodes, 25 minutes, 3 episodes, because I'm assuming, this is just my assumption. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, you guys know I always come out and say, oh, I was wrong. I'm assuming Iron Fist is going to consume 1 of the 4. So 3 episodes of Wakanda. Why not just turn that bullshit into a fucking presentation movie that we don't have to sit through? And I'm going to, for you guys. I'm going to do the work for you guys. I'm going to sit in there for 4 weeks and report. Now, I'm gonna try my best not to be toxic, but I might get to a point within episode, maybe even 1 or 2 or somewhere midpoint with it where I stop giving a fuck, where I'm like, I didn't watch that bullshit. They lost me. But I'm going to try my best for y'all to sit in there for 4 weeks and watch whatever the fuck it is they're doing with that so I can report it back to you. But why not just take that bullshit and make it a fucking presentation? Why would you want to make us sit through 15 minutes of bullshit for 4 weeks? Because it's only going to be, again, 25 to 30 minutes. Just doesn't make sense. I lost it. Fatigue. Yes, again, that's what rounded back to the fatigue. It's not a fatigue. It's simply a give a fuck. With some audiences simply tired of the genre due to the frequency in which it's being added to. It doesn't help that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has a varietable formula that's now become a lot less welcome among those who once enjoyed it. It doesn't help that the quality of the MCU movies and shows has seen a noticeable downward trend, as have the movies in the box office profits. For instance, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, alongside with Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, and to some extent Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings are some of the only well-received MCU movies to come out after Avengers Endgame. That's the only and when I said, about the whole Shang-Chi, no one gives a fuck about Shang-Chi, I'm talking about as a whole, bro. That's what I mean. Like the movie was, I love that movie. That movie was great. I thought the third act questionable, but the movie as a whole was great. But I'm talking about, since that movie, who's talking about Shang-Chi? I'll wait. No one. Since Black Panther, the first one in 2018, constant discussion. That's what I mean. It wasn't the cultural movement that Black Panther was. That's what I mean when I say no one gave a flying fuck. No one gave a flying fuck about Eternals. Why do you think Marvel is quietly canceling shit and merging movies behind the scenes right now? Because no one gave a fuck. It's just like with Eyes of Wakanda. This should have been quietly canceled too, because no one gives a fuck. We're talking about it because we care about this franchise and we care about Black Panther. We care about T'Challa. We want to see that character thrive. And any time that the MCU puts anything out about that franchise or that IP, I'm going to cover it. Regardless if I watch it or I like it, I'm going to cover it. Because I'm going to give my honest opinion every single time, and how I still am forever going to believe that T'Challa needs to be put back on screen. And I think I even mentioned the best time, even though this is, at the time we didn't know, or I didn't know, that this was going to be set in the past. I said at the time, why this would be the perfect chance for you to recast T'Challa. Because you could have got the voice, you could have got the actor who was going to play him in live action to then voice him in the show. That way, for those weird people that can't distinguish the difference between a fictional person and a real person, it won't be weird for people. For some people, whenever you have the actor whose voice you've heard in the animated series come on the big screen. That, to me, would have been the easier way to do it with this series. Usher in your new T'Challa or your new actor as T'Challa with this series. But no, we instead want to continue to pretend that T'Challa doesn't exist within this franchise. And I'm going to get to it with the Rise of Hydra 1942 trailer. It's evident even there. Because, and I even said it when this trailer, or not when the trailer, when the game was announced. Once again, not using T'Challa. Once again, bypassing T'Challa within his franchise. Then it goes on, blah, 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 blah. Only with the movies and beyond. Legend of the Ten Rings are some of the only well-received MCU movies to outcome the Avengers Endgame. That's only with the movies and beyond. WandaVision, the first Marvel Cinematic Universe show on Disney+. Ding, I would put Loki in that too, but yeah. None of these series have been major successes. In fact, some of these have been as downright controversial and lambasted as some of the recent movies. For instance, She-Hulk Attorney at Law was criticized for the lack of good legal writing, its comedic handling of Daredevil in the final episode. Likewise, Secret Invasion was a highly disliked show, and it was seen as the nadir of 2023, a year with more MCU misses than hits. Again, that's why I said you really can't put that Wakanda for. Wait, that's Phase 5. I'm sorry, that's Phase 5. It's arguably that a sense of oversaturation might hit viewers even if the movies and shows maintain their former quality. With the decrease in said quality, however, audiences are tiring of the MCU faster than they are otherwise would have. Many see Disney Plus as a content machine that's watering down the brand image of both Marvel Cinematic Universe and Star Wars. Yes, both of them. Some Marvel fans have criticized that the streaming show ventures as ways to pad out the streaming service's library. This is while more popular properties such as X-Men remain without being introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Eyes of Wakanda is now being criticized as that kind of space-occupying content. Exactly. Because why are we going back? And not only are we going back, we're going back with characters that aren't going to be with us in the future. What? It doesn't. Especially since the franchise's main character is dead. Let me read that part again. Eyes of Wakanda is now being criticized as that kind of space-occupying content, especially since the franchise's main character is dead. It's an artificial way to extend the sale date of a property that might not have much more to offer, making the biggest issue with the show one day. It's not that the Black Panther franchise doesn't have much more to offer, because that's some bullshit. There are a plethora of Black Panther stories, and this is just one. There are a plethora of Black Panther stories that you can go through. A plethora of Black Panther stories that you can go through that can continue to bust out content, movie after movie. Hell, turn some of them into shows if you want to. So it's not, the Black Panther franchise has much more to offer. The Black Panther franchise was stifled because when you made the decision that you made, now it doesn't have anything else to offer unless you put T'Challa back on his throne. That's the only way you're going to get anything out of this franchise. They're sitting here wringing this fucking franchise dry, trying to get everything they can, trying to dig themselves out of the hole they created in 2020. You know, I've said many times, maybe Marvel, I've said no, they're never going to go back. They're always going to do this child because they've dug a hole. They're not going to go back on that. Recent conversations from Marvel have had me saying, but maybe they do. Maybe they are starting to finally realize. Maybe it will be more clear after the failure of this series. And yes, I am saying the failure of this series because it's not going to succeed. It's not going to succeed. I'll tell you this. Newest thing going on right now. Marvel just talked about how, because of how successful X-Men 97 is, shocker, only Marvel themselves are shocked by that shit. Because you got a bunch of people over there that don't know what they're... Now they're talking about they want to do the original 90s Spider-Man series and bring it back. But not just that. They're talking about doing a cinematic animated universe with some of those old 90s properties that all intertwined with each other and because of how successful it was. It's crazy that we can see the success in 97 and with the success of 97 say to ourselves, oh, well, because it's so successful, let's do this. But we can't see the digression of the Black Panther franchise and have the same fucking light bulb that says, oh, it's failing because we made a dumbass fucking decision back in 2020 and decided with Chadwick Boseman, we're now going to bury a fictional character that has been here long before Chadwick or any of us. Yeah. So it's not that the Black Panther franchise doesn't have more to offer. It has a lot more to offer. The time for Black Panther show has come and gone. I think this is the last part of it. The immense sense of hype after the first Black Panther movie was released was a great time to release a Black Panther spinoff show. Bingo. Of course, there was no Disney Plus at the time, but the streaming service was out the same year as Avengers Endgame hit theaters. By releasing a show like Eyes of Wakanda as the launch title for the series, but crafted differently. Still not going back in time, crafted differently with T'Challa. Hold on. By releasing a show like Eyes of Wakanda as the launch title for the series, it would have likely moved the needle and convinced some to adapt the streaming service, especially if they were otherwise skeptical. It might have moved the needle, for sure, it might have. The Black Panther property was riding high at the time, so the soil would have been particularly fertile for such a show to do well, both critically and among viewers. Now it will have an uphill. Oh, uphill is such a kind word. It's such a kind word. It's got more than an uphill battle. It's going to have an uphill battle in garnering interest as the MCU's brand star has begun to dim to the worst troubling critic. Indifference. Likewise, given the particular circumstance surrounding Wakanda Forever, it remains to be seen how strong the Black Panther brand itself currently is. It's fragile as fuck. It is fragile as fuck within the MCU. Not the Black Panther friend from now. I'm not, because you guys know I've kind of been turned off from Marvel Comics, but I've been thinking, seeing all the positive praise to Ewing's Black Panther comics and everything like that I've been thinking maybe, Darius, just maybe you pick those comics up and you read them again. Because I've seen the positive praise that they've been getting from Black Panther fans like myself. So within the MCU, it's fragile as fuck. Outside the MCU, the Black Panther franchise seems to be thriving. But within the MCU, no, it's fragile. It's fragile. It's fragile because people don't care. You've made it to where people simply do not care about that franchise anymore. You took a $1.3 billion franchise and you said, how can we fuck this up? How can we get rid of this I really wish I could find the video. I really do. There was a video I saved. It's not on YouTube anymore. It pissed me off. I should have screen recorded it. It's not on YouTube anymore. It was a video though of some I don't know, black friends, black family, I don't know, coming out of the first Black Panther film. And, you know, the big cardboard cutouts that they do in front of the theater room before you go in on bigger films like that, because Black Panther was a big film. They had that big cutout. And dude recording came out of the theater and he was recording and he said, so this is what it's like. He's recording the cardboard cutout. This is what it's like. This is what you guys, white folks, feel when you go into a theater or when you see yourselves. This is what it feels like. Because and everybody around him was in agreement. It's like, oh, yeah. You don't understand what you took away. And it's not that you took away black empowerment. I'm not saying that, because there are still strong black empowerment themes throughout the Wakanda Forever, throughout the Wakanda's history. Outside of T'Challa, there's black themes built around him. But he is that. He is that needle that holds it all together. You really fucked up. And it's not too late to fix it. It's not too late to fix what you have fucked up. But you really fucked up when you made that decision to not recast him. Again, mourn. Feel how you feel. Get through it, whatever. But at the end of the day, a decision should have been made to put him back on his screen. Because if we haven't talked about it in a while, but I know some people may have forgotten. It took them seconds. That's from Nate Moore's mouth. It took them seconds, not days, not weeks, not years, not months. He said, we sat down and we knew within seconds we are not going to recast this character. How you make such a pivotal decision in seconds is beyond me. I take that back. You make a decision like that when you are in your feelings. I coach basketball, for those of you that don't know. And one of the things I always should tell my boys, especially when it would affect the fucking game, get out your fucking feelings. You think the other team cares about your feelings? They don't. If your feelings are going to affect the game, you can come sit next to me on the bench. Get out of your feelings. Feelings don't win games. And it's the same thing with Marvel. You're losing the game. You're losing the game because you're in your feelings. You're in your feelings because a brother that you loved, and we go back to that too. You loved because, no, I'm not gonna go there. But that you loved, we've talked about that whatever love that they supposedly had for Chad. I'm not saying they didn't care about Chadwick. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this woe is me, we can't go on without him, and the show can't go on. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. So you made that decision to get in your feelings, kill the character, change everything on the original script and what it was going to be, and then still today are holding on to that same decision. Maybe behind the scenes, we don't know. Maybe behind the scenes, this is being talked about again. Maybe this is being brought back up. Maybe Marvel is sitting around in a circle deciding, talking about it, saying, maybe we did make the wrong decision. Maybe we do need to recast T'Challa. And again, I think it might be more of a conversation after the failure of Eyes of Wakanda. After the failure of Eyes of Wakanda, the numbers aren't going to do anything at all. I don't even, What If Season 2? I don't even remember anybody talking about What If Season 2. I don't remember anybody talking. Season 3 is on the horizon. Anybody talking about it? Season 3 comes out this year. Anybody talking about it? No. The only thing I've seen of interest from people in Season 3 is that Storm is in it. That's the only thing I've seen of interest, and that's just one episode. So, or she might be in more than one. I don't know. But that's the only interest I've seen from people. That's the only talk I've seen about What If Season 3. Other than that, quiet. No one's talking. It's gonna be the same thing about your Eyes of Wakanda. It's gonna air. You'll have some people tune in, whatever. It's not going to be the series that people are talking about weeks from now, months from then. It's not going to be that. They go on to say the last thing: the Black Panther property was riding high at the time, so the soil would have been particularly fertile. Oh, did I read that? I did read that. Blah 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 blah. Now we'll have an uphill. Yeah. The MCU. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so likewise, given that the particular circumstance surrounding Wakanda Forever, it remains to be seen how strong the Black Panther brand currently is. This will definitely hurt the prospect of Eyes of Wakanda. Even if the show is good, it's a shame that such a once venerable franchise has gotten to this point in such a short span of time. But unlike T'Challa's claws, these properties aren't made of vibranium. I agree with that last part right there, where they said the brand itself is currently, this is definitely going to hurt the prospects of Eyes of Wakanda, even if the show is good. Even if the show is good, it's going to hurt the prospects of it because you took away the franchise's main character. And I want to get into this deal here with wherever it is. I want to get into this deal here with the 1942 trailer. I don't know. Can I show this and not? People have been doing reactions to it, so I want to say I can. But the 1943 Rise of Hydra, based off of the comic Flags of Our Father. So they released this earlier this week. And it is a clip of the game. I think the game comes out, what is it, next year? Or is it this year? Next year sometime? I'm not sure. But we got our first look at Azari, the wise T'Challa's grandfather. And there have been a lot of conversations about it on Twitter. A lot of the conversations surrounding the complexion of T'Challa's grandfather, who is played by Kyrie Payton. And he is playing him. He played in something else. I can't recall what else it was, but he is doing the motion capture for Azari in the game. And a lot of people were upset about that. A lot of people were not so much upset with the actor himself, but upset with, because it's not his fault, but upset with the decision made to make Azari as light skinned as he is. And I saw so many arguments on Twitter about it. Some people saying, well, you guys are acting like there aren't light skinned people in Africa. It's not that there aren't light skinned people in Africa. There are light skinned people in Africa. But what we're saying is the bloodline of T'Challa is not light skin. What we are saying is accuracy in the complexion, just as well as the accent and everything else. It matters. Those things are very, very, very important. And before I even show this, I will show you why. An example of. Well, actually. No, I'll show that in a minute. Of the example of that importance, of why complexion is important, why those little details matter, why we make such a big deal when it comes to Black Panther, because the details that you are missing, that you are skipping with Black Panther, you wouldn't do with Spider-Man, and you didn't. You didn't with the Spider-Man game, the first one or this newest one. You didn't skip on those little details that make Peter Parker Peter Parker. You didn't skip out on those little details that make Miles Morales Miles, or Venom Venom, or Craven, or any of the other characters. You didn't skip out on those little details. So why then skip out on those little details when it comes to anything involving the Black Panther franchise? It's that short end of the stick that I'm constantly talking about when it comes to Black Panther. It's that empowerment. It's that seeing yourself. It's that your complexion is ugly. We don't want it. I'm telling you. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and show it now. Right here. Hold on. Let me go ahead and like that so I have it for when I show that part. Here. Take a listen. Actually, before I do, this is the actress or the voice actress that plays Storm in the original 97-90s and currently now in the reboot. And she is talking about how they took Storm's complexion from the picture on the right there. Is that my right or your on the right there? And turned it into what we have now today in today's reboot on the left, as you can see that there. And she's just talking about why it matters. So we'll play this. I'm going to get to the Azari shit in just a second. Oh, can you guys not hear that? Okay, you guys can't hear that. I'm sorry. Hold on. I don't know why you can't. Hold on. 1 second. Okay, hold on. Let me see.
I'll tell you what I do love, and I don't think I've said this to anybody before, but Steve, if you notice, her skin tone in 97 is a couple of shades darker than she was in the 90s. And I'm going, beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. We have
Yes.
all our own issues within our own community, and some of it is imposed, and some of it is stuff that we do, but there is, an ism that we battle with, and that's colorism, right?
Right.
And the gradations, the closer that you get to white is seen as more beautiful. And I just love because it's only when you don't pick up on it until you see them side by side, and you go, "Ooh, girlfriend got a tan," and she's been in the sun, and I love it. I thrill to that. So
No,
hair, that's great, all of that stuff, but just check how beautiful my girl's complexion is.
Right. And some people might be thinking, oh, that's such a small thing. And those people, again, your privilege is showing. I've said that so many times. When you are able to sit and not look at, why people make such a big deal about complexion, why people make such a big deal about our characters having the kinky hair or the hair that's accurate or the complexion that's accurate, the tones that are accurate, the accents that are accurate, it matters. And the reason that you were able to sit back and say, well, why does that matter is because for you, you're coming from a place of privilege where you are able to see yourself in characters all the time. You're able to see yourself in the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Spider-Man. You're able to see yourself in the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Captain America. You're able to see yourself in the white Tony Stark and the white Thor. So it may not hit to you what we mean when we say, because there were people on Twitter that just could not wrap their brains around why people were so upset with the complexion of Azari, because it fucking matters. It fucking matters. It's like she said here. This part, I think she said it about here. So I'm gonna try to play it here.
That we battle with, and that's colorism, right? And the gradations, the closer that you get to white is seen as
more beautiful. That's what I was saying there earlier when they were saying when I said it's an ugly. We're not trying to see that ugly. And I stopped myself because it's literally there. To be seen as white is to be seen as beautiful. To be seen as that lighter complexion is to be seen as beautiful. Oh, you got a beautiful light tone. That's why they made Storm the color they made her in the 90s. We're sitting here talking about people we want to play Storm. Whoever plays her cannot come in and be the Halle Berry's color. Cannot. It's the same. It's those same things. Wanting to see yourself. Why it's important. People could not wrap their heads around why people are so upset about Azari's coloring, because it matters. It matters. T'Challa is a dark-skinned hero. Therefore, his bloodline is going to be that same thing. And I'm going to show that in just a minute, because there were some people saying, what do you mean by that? I'm telling you, the denseness that's on Twitter sometimes, but that I wanted to play what she said there. And before I even play that deal, I'll go ahead and show this again of what do we mean by his bloodline. Take a look. This was put out by Marvel Studios. I fucked it up. Hold on. This was put out by Marvel Studios around that Wakanda Forever time. Hold on. Here we go. This was put out around that time.
That began long, long ago. The first to invoke the power of Bast, the Black Panther god, was Bashenga. He served to protect the great mound comprised of the rare and powerful metal vibranium. As the Black Panther, he began the royal lineage of the Wakandan people. Many kings of the growing nation of Wakanda followed in his pawprints to rule as the Black Panther. During World War II, Azuri the Wise would protect Wakanda from invasion by Hydra, who sought their vibranium. With the Wakandan border secured, Azuri would join with Nanli to have two sons. The younger son, Yasan, who would have a son himself named Tashan. The elder son, T'Chaka, who would take over as ruler of Wakanda with his wife Nyami as his queen. Together, they would adopt a foreign child named Hunter and have a biological son named T'Challa. After the death of Nyami during childbirth, T'Chaka would have two additional biological children. The first, Chakara, was born with an unknown woman. Chakara, who would later ascend the ranks to general of the Wakandan army. T'Chaka would go on to marry Ramonda and together have a daughter named Shuri. The royal family includes important members of the royal court. Mbaza, advisor to T'Chaka, and Mbaza's two children, Kanata and Butumba, as well as Zuri, T'Chaka's personal bodyguard and confidant. After the death of King T'Chaka, his son T'Challa ascended the royal throne. Surrounding the new king of Wakanda is his second-in-command, Wakabi, as well as the Dora Milaje, or in English, the Adored Ones. Together, Narima, Okoye, Nakia, Ayo, Aneka, and Tila serve as the king's personal guard. Though would-be usurpers like Eric Killmonger and M'Baku, T'Challa remains the rightful king of Wakanda. Long live the king.
What did that last part say?
T'Challa remains the rightful king of Wakanda. Long live the king.
Yeah. Anyway, showing that family tree and that bloodline because it's important. It's important. The complexions, the skin tones, all of it. It's very important. These are all things that we are wanting to see when accuracy when these stories are told with T'Challa. So for those, we'll go ahead and play this again. I don't think we shouldn't get dinged for this. We should be good. Okay, let's see.
That's far enough! I'm here on the business of the United States government.
Yours is not the only business here. Stay out of my way.
Stand aside!
I do not take orders from anyone. Turn around, boy. Go home.
Look, pal, I don't know who you are.
But I know who you are. Captain, America's hero, dancing around in red, white, and blue underwear.
Says the man dressed like an overgrown house cat.
That shield that you hide behind does not belong to you. You are unworthy of it.
I don't have time for this.
Neither do I.
Okay. Now, producer Henry, who, very, very my bestest friend. Without Henry, I wouldn't even be sitting here speaking to you guys now. Henry came in and fixed everything. And Henry doesn't know anything about audio. He taught himself this stuff over the last few days. I was trying to get this stuff together. So bless my friend Henry for sure. But Henry, who doesn't know shit? Henry does this. One, out of he likes to do producer type stuff like this. But two, we've been friends since the second grade. So he does it a lot for me too, because he knows it's something I want. And if I succeed, obviously he succeeds with me because I'm taking Henry wherever, whatever. But Henry doesn't. He's a Star Wars fan for sure. Henry, I really wish he'd get on camera sometime, but he's never going to do that. But Star Wars is his thing. Like, he knows Star Wars just as much as I know Star Wars and things like that, if not sometimes more. He didn't know Marvel's not Henry's thing. Like, even growing up, I had my Marvel action figures and things like that, and we never played with them. I know I played with another kid in the neighborhood that had Marvel figures and things like that, but Henry and I never played. Henry's not a Marvel fan like that. He goes and watches the films with me. He critiques the fans. Or the movies. He might see certain things or whatever, but he's not a fan like that. But when I showed him this today, when he was here and he was fixing everything, I showed him this today, and he even said, "Who is that?" And I said, "Which one?" And he said, who's in the Black Panther suit? And I said, "That is T'Challa's grandfather, Azari." And he said, "Is he mixed?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, why is this dude?" He said, "Why is this light-skinned dude playing him and things like that?" And I'm like, hey, I was like, that's the question that everybody's asking right now. Why do you have a light skin? Although, be it he's a good actor and things like that. I've seen other things he's done. Like I said, I liked the acting. I thought the acting in this was great. I thought this was the CGI or the effects and everything. I think it's all great in this. But it's again that complexion. It's that it's the appearance that we're getting of Azari here. But then again, even above all the complexion and things like that, it's the simple fact that we are bypassing T'Challa yet again. It's the simple fact that you are not playing as T'Challa here. You are playing as, once again, another version of the Black Panther that is not T'Challa. At the end of that video we just watched, you heard it said, T'Challa is the true and rightful ruler of Wakanda. Long live the king. And that is just, regardless of if it be in video game, live action, whether it be in animation, you take away T'Challa, you have doomed this franchise. And it's not this franchise's fault, because this franchise has a plethora of rich and wonderful stories that could be told. But when you take away that franchise's main character and you take the emphasis off of what actually matters, then you have doomed the franchise. And it seems like it may be again, maybe one thing that they might figure out after the failure of this show, maybe not. I don't know. But that is what is going on so far with the Eyes of Wakanda. Those are the things that we know right now when it comes to the Eyes of Wakanda. Obviously, when it comes to the show, I'm going to be covering it with you guys. I'm going to be covering. I'll watch it even. That one, regardless of if I like it or not, that one may be the one that, again, now if I start disliking it midway through, like episode 2, 3, I'm not gonna finish it. But that one might be the one where we actually record my reaction, where I actually sit down here and record my reaction. You know, I've said that many times. Oh, I'm going to record my reaction to the show for you guys. The reason I don't is because if the show sucks, I'm not wasting my time. I'm not going to sit in here and waste my time and watch. Like Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix, didn't even finish it. Can't do it. There's, stuff that's just not worth my time, and I'm not going to do it. But that one may be one that we actually do put out. There's some, other things coming up too that I want to talk about and put out. A new segment that we just put out on the show or put out into the show as well. That's going to be coming out. So there's a lot of things that I've been working on. I know it doesn't seem like it's probably been like, damn. Darius is not coming back. No, I've been working really hard to try to get back here and get back to this point, and I hope that the audio sounds a lot better than it has ever before. But been working really hard trying to get back here. But that's what we know so far about the Eyes of Wakanda. That's what we know so far when it comes to what they've gotten. Again, I'm going to be covering it. I'm going to cover everything with you guys. I'm going to let you guys know even more that comes out when more comes out about it. We don't have a release date for the show yet. We don't have a trailer for the show yet. Obviously, when that drops, I will be reacting to that as well, and we'll discuss it even then. But there's a lot of other positive things going on within the MCU outside of the bullshit BP franchise that they've got going on right now. It seems like maybe Bob Iger, and I hate we didn't get to talk about a lot of this stuff, but I do want to talk about it, but I want to do it with these two. And that is some of the changes over there at Marvel Studios that are being made that were discussed, and some of those things, some of the other things like that. There's a lot that I do want to discuss with all of you, and I definitely going to get to all of that. But now, what we'll do now, if you guys want, we will move into our Q&A portion of it. I'll go through some of these comments here. Now, it's not letting me go up all the way. It took me as far as it'll let me go. I don't know. I'm sure you guys have been going crazy in there talking. I need to get a thing up where I can see the chat whenever I'm going, because I can't always see the chat until I go back to the screen here. But we'll read. Let's see. So if you have anything, you can put it at the bottom there. If you have anything you want to say, I can go ahead and answer it. Also, last thing before we get into Q&A, I want to say at the top there, at the top of the screen, where is it? Right there. If you look, you will see Henry made a goal that we're trying to reach. We are trying to get a new microphone for the studio that would enhance the audio even more, because Henry had to really play with this. He had to really get it to where it sounds the way it does now, and I'm pretty sure it sounds the way it needs to sound. I won't know until I do this playback, but when he left here, it sounded pretty good, so that was the best we've gotten it. So, but he does want to make more changes. There are other things he still was not happy with, and one of the things is this microphone. So we are trying to reach a goal and trying to get a new microphone. It's not something we are begging anybody to do, but it's something that if you guys would like, we're trying to improve the overall quality of the show. Again, you guys know this is something I want to be doing 24/7, so I can dedicate my full time to you guys, to where I can actually come in here. Well, I'm actually back to every day. I know I've said that, but we finally got everything. The studio is different. I'm actually sitting in a spot that I can actually function in now. Audio, been working on that, so we've kind of gotten things back to where we want things to be as far as like really producing an everyday or Monday through Friday show like we used to. The segments, the clipped YouTube videos that from these longer streams and things like that. So really trying to put all that back into everything and be here as much as I possibly can on a fixed schedule, and also, like I said, just making the overall quality and shows better for you guys, because you guys are really appreciated. Really appreciate everyone being here, like you guys are. So that's the goal there. If you would like to, you can. I believe he said it goes to the Streamlabs or however it works. However it works. I don't know how it works. However you normally donate the money, I guess. It would be Super Chat or Streamlabs or whatever. But that is something we were asking. Again, we appreciate all of you guys. But the first thing that I'm going to read here is going to be from Tyrone. He said, Cold Tiger was a bad idea. There's no tigers in Africa, but Bronze Tiger, badass. DC barely uses Bronze Tiger. They do barely use Bronze Tiger. I was actually trying to get a very rare Bronze Tiger figure that I was trying to obtain, but they are asking way too much money for that shit. If I'm saying this right, Hamara said Casper Cole can play Cold Tiger. Tyrone also said there's rumors of White Tiger coming into the MCU. Seems bad. White Tiger is going to be in the Daredevil show. The male version of the White Tiger is going to be in the Daredevil show. I believe from what we've seen in the behind the scenes videos and leaks and things that have come out, I believe he dies in the show. I believe Punisher shoots him and he dies in the show. But the female White Tiger is supposed to be getting her own series, I guess. I mean, that would be part of that ground level stuff that they were talking about they're wanting to do. And honestly, that if like they said, they want to do the Disney Plus more ground level things, that's fine. That might be a show that people, a character or a hero that people want to, watch and be interested in. It may be, it may not be. You always take a gamble with a lot of those heroes that are lesser known from the casual fans. Would I check out a White Tiger? I'd dip in, and if it caught my attention, yeah, I would definitely watch, especially if their street level stuff that they start focusing on is dope, like that Netflix street level things that they were doing, or that Netflix did. Gray said, straight sabotage, a positive Black franchise. Yep. Raptor Cloak said, half the characters from the Black Panther comics are dead in the movies. Of course, no one wants the series after all that. I mean, who's going to die next? Shuri, M'Baku, Okoye? Yeah, and it's the same thing. It's like everyone that, that we've cared about, and the main person we've cared about, T'Challa, being gone in this series, or being gone in his franchise even. Andre said we want the real T'Challa. Tyrone said they should just reboot and use T'Challa's rogues from the comics. Good. Terrell said real Black Panther fans won't accept T'Challa Jr., aka Toussaint. Nope. Gray said that's like Marcus Jordan popping Larissa Pippen won the Bulls 6 champions. Terrell said that's what makes Damian Wayne as the new Batman after Michael Keaton dies, or that's like making Damian Wayne the new Batman after Michael Keaton dies. Yeah. Raptor Cloak said they had no problem replacing William Hurt as Red Hulk just months after he died. No problem at all. We've talked about that one too. When that first initially happened, we talked about that, how they didn't even wait for Hurt to be cold in the ground before they made the decision to bring in Harrison Ford. And I'm not speaking when I say this. I like William Hurt. I thought he did a good job as Thunderbolt Ross. but he also had a checkered past, you know, and I'm not bringing that up to like, oh, we all have everybody has a past. Everybody's got skeletons and things like that. I'm not saying that to diminish the man or anything like that. I'm just saying that to kind of throw in the line of hypocrisy when it comes to certain people on Twitter or even Marvel themselves. Hollywood, you know, how quickly Jonathan Majors was fired and gotten rid of, but you had William Hurt who, what was it? Did he beat his wife? I don't want to speak incorrectly. I you know, especially on topics like that. I if I'm correct, I believe it was abusive to his wife. You know, but no one batted an eye on that. No one, that was okay. You know, oh, he's got a pass or it happened or whatever. No one said anything about that. It's kind of like this stuff going on right now. I watched Quiet on Set. Oh my. And I have continued to see a lot of things come out in regards to Quiet on Set. But one thing that stuck out to me was the simple fact that I'm a huge Boy Meets World fan. I think that's my favorite show of all time. It was definitely my favorite show growing up, but I regard that in my top 3 favorite shows of all time. I love Boy Meets World. I was not shocked because, as I said on Twitter, don't be shocked or dismayed by any of these people that come out and support these fucking sickos. I wasn't shocked. I was a little disappointed when I saw that Ryder Strong and Will Fidel had come out and support with support letters that they had wrote, and this wasn't like new. These aren't new letters. The letters that they wrote in support of Brian Peck back when everything was going on with Drake, when, you know, all those people were supporting him. And James Marsden was also on that. And again, it's the outrage it's a certain outrage. It's the pick and choose outrage. It's the outrage, oh, well, okay, I'm going to be outraged about it with this person, but I'm not going to be outraged about it with this person. No, James Marsden didn't touch anyone or do anything or hit anyone or sexually assault a child or anything like that. But what does it say to the people that support these sickos? You know, although he wrote that letter in support, what was that, back in 03, 04, whenever the fuck that case happened, you still wrote a letter in support of it. You still, we don't know if he talks to Brian Peck or anything like that, but it's the fake outrage from people that kills me. Or the pick and choose fake outrage, I guess. You know, everybody was so upset with Jonathan Majors. Oh, he should be this. He should be fired. Oh, he did that. Oh, you know, the fake breaking up this or the fake breaking up fights to boost his image and everything he did to that broke that. You know, all the things that people were saying. But yet you have James Marsden, who's about to reprise his role as Cyclops. Not to say that this has anything to do with the cameo he's doing or anything like that. I'm just putting it out there. If we're gonna put it on one person, we got to put it on all of them. Yeah, James Marsden, who openly supports a child predator, and he's about to reprise his role as Cyclops, and everybody's gung ho for it. I think it's cool that we're going to get to see James Marsden back as Cyclops. That's dope. But the simple fact is, if you are going to condemn Majors for simply trying to get away from the bitch, where's that same anger for any of these other actors with checkered past or something that they've done in the present or whatever like that? Where's that same outrage, that same get them out, that same hashtag whatever? It's not the same. It's that pick and choose outrage. So don't be dismayed or shocked by any of the support that people give in this Holly weird shit that's going on. Like everything going on with Quiet on Set, the stuff we've learned, we've all known about Dan Snyder forever. You know, if you were a fan of any of this, if you were a 90s kid and you grew up watching any of this stuff, you knew about Dan Snyder. You knew about, you know, the weird feet shit and the stuff that Jeanette McCurdy used to say and some of the old YouTube videos that people used to do. But it's not new. We all knew about this stuff. But the stuff we learned within that, you know, about Drake and some of the other things that we learned in that, it was, and it was in the documentary. But after Brian got out of prison, 16 months that he spent in prison for molesting a child, he was then hired by Disney to work on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. But then yet again, I know it wasn't Disney that fired Majors. Disney but Marvel's still under that umbrella. It's just it's the pick and choose. It's the right skin tone and everything else. You get away with certain things, and it's just, again, it's the pick and choose for me. It's the people on Twitter that again, don't shock or dismaze me. They make me, I do say wow sometimes. So it's just interesting. It's interesting. Now, I deviated there a little bit, but it is interesting. Let me go back up real quick. Where was I at? Stamina said, London calling, what's up, Planeteers? Appreciate you being here. Gray said, that's like watching Jaws without the shark. All that's left is just boring, a boring summer vacation. Let's see. Falcon said, hello, Planet Fanatics crew. Darius, happy to see you. Appreciate you being here, Falcon. Appreciate it for sure. Let me see. I'm trying to. Officially MG said, I just think we don't need the solo movies anymore in the MCU. Like, just make group movies the way you can include more heroes and everyone gets pleased. Tyrone said, Madam Web didn't even have superhero shit in the film, and turned Ezekiel Sims into a villain for no reason. Yeah, I heard that it didn't have any. I heard the bulk of whatever happens, their power. That was actually Liam that told me that in one stream. The bulk of the power shit, that's all a premonition. Oh, I'm glad. I was not gonna go see it, but I'm so glad I did not see that movie. That would have pissed me the fuck off if I sat there for a superhero movie and got no superhero shit. That would have pissed me the fuck off. Raymond said, why is light-skinned T'Challa on screen? That's the lighting I put on him here, sir. That's the lighting I put on him here. I removed that lighting. He is actually more this color here. But that's the lighting. Let's see. Officially MG said, I'm excited for the Acolyte, but I'm a Star Wars casual, not a super fan. Yeah, see, and that's the thing. They might, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Disney might win over. They might win over the casuals with Acolyte. They really might. For me, I watched the trailer several times. I watched it like maybe 3 or 4 times when they first dropped it, and I was trying to find the excitement, and I just couldn't. And that's saying a lot, because I've been waiting for this series since it was announced in 2019. I'm a major Star Wars fan. I've been waiting for this. So and we've talked about the Acolyte with old rumors, we covered the set photos, that, all that stuff. We've talked about it all. But when the trailer finally dropped, I was just like, is that it? Is that is this the mystery series with behind who's the Sith that this is it? And I didn't, and the girl, I already didn't like this in the damn books, in the damn High Republic books. The girl that has the whip lightsaber, she's going to use that in the show. Like, the lightsaber's going to come out. Thank you so much for the super. The lightsaber's going to come out, and it's going, thank you, JD. Oh, 20, thank you. Very, very generous, JD, for the 20. I will definitely get to that in just a second. But she's going to use that whip-ass lightsaber in the show. So when she pops it out, it's going to be like an Indiana Jones fucking... I am not the biggest fan of High Republic, and I'm not the biggest fan of High Republic because it's an era that was created without George. It was an era that was created on they just did that shit just to do it, because we were asking for Old Republic. They said, haha, how about the High Republic? So, it's just not, I'm not a fan of the books. But I was looking forward to this because it was from a perspective of Star Wars we've never seen before, from the Sith point of view. And judging from the trailer, and I'm just, again, it is just the first trailer. If the Sith that we're following, obviously the big bad is the person, whoever threw the lightsaber at the end of the trailer. But the emphasis is put on I guess we kind of already knew that, the girl. The plot synopsis is that there's two twins, there's two sisters, they're in the village, the Jedi come for the sister that's Force sensitive, that's Daphne Keene's girl, I believe. They come for her, they take her, but the village doesn't want them to take her because, the Jedi kidnap children. That's what they fucking do. They go in to kidnap children, they take them and they take them away from their families, but they're the good guys. So they go and kidnap these children, they take them from their family. The village doesn't want them to take the kid, but the village says to them, hey, you know what, we'll let you take the kid as long as you provide protection to our village. There's I forget what it is, another village or something that attacks them or creatures or something like that. Jedi agreed, but then when they were attacked, then they are attacked again by that village, and then the Jedi never show up, only leaving that the other unforced sensitive sister, at the time that the Jedi came, she was unforced sensitive, I guess, is coming to her force powers now, and she's pissed at the Jedi because the Jedi, this does not sound Disney, she's pissed at the Jedi because the Jedi promised or never kept their promise. They didn't keep their promise to protect her village, so now she's vowed to kill all the Jedi, and whatever dark Sith is out there has sensed her darkness and has taken him or her under their wing, and now going to be whatever the fuck is happening in the Acolyte. But that whole thing, that sounds straight from a Disney writer's room. Let's have two sisters. One's Force sensitive, but they don't know that the other is Force sensitive. The Jedi are going to come for her. She's going to get really... the Jedi make a promise that you have to protect us. They kill all her friends and family, so she vows to kill the Jedi. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. In 6 years, that's what you came up with? In 6 years, it took you to, with one of the greatest IPs ever, one of the greatest stories ever, you have an unlimited galaxy to pull from, and that's what you came up with? We'll see, Lucasfilm. We will see. Raymond said... Let's see. Damn, keeps going down. Okay, no. Okay, not talking to me. Johnny Washington said, I don't remember what it was, but he said that is possible IDK. He also said Azari the Wise versus a young Steve Rogers in the 1940s. I can't cap that storyline in the comics. Oh, no. Yeah. No, the storyline in the comics, Flies of Our Father, it's great. It's great. It's a great one. And I'm not saying that game ain't going to be great. I'm just talking about the appearance. The game looks great. It does. The game looks great. It's just the appearance of Azari, but the game looks phenomenal. Stamina said, weren't they wrong with Daredevil and She-Hulk? The legal writing, that's Jipment. He said, those last couple lines are money. Artificial extensions is absolutely what it is. Liam said, not gonna lie, sometimes we need to learn to let things die. Sometimes, but it depends on what that is we're letting die. If it's something let me rephrase that. If it's something that you are passionate about, that you really truly care about, I'm gonna say never let anybody stifle you or let things die. Don't ever let anybody take something away from you that you really care about, and if it's something that you care about, something that you are passionate about, something that you have put your all into, or that makes you happy or brings you joy or whatever. Don't ever let anybody dim your sunshine and tell you to let it go or drop it, because that's the equivalent of what MT told us when he said it's not that deep. To whom? It may not be that deep to you because you like to shuck and jive over there with them, but it is that deep to us. It is that deep. We want to see a character that we see ourselves in. We want to see a character that we care about. It's that deep, and so for me, it would be one of those things that don't ever let the recast, the conversation die. Don't ever let the importance of what this character truly means. I don't know if that's what you were meaning, Liam, but I just went with that when you said let things die. But I'm not. This is not one that can ever, for me, in my opinion, be let to just hang dry. Raymond said no, bring back bring back Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. We deserve more. I still haven't watched that. I still need to. Johnny Washington said Marvel just Marvel just needs one show or movie to rewrite them out of this T'Challa trouble. It's really not. No, it's not. That's what I'm saying. It's not too late. That's what I said earlier. It is not too late. It is not too hard. It is something that can easily be done. Not too hard. They could say T'Challa faked his death to explore the multiverse. I mean, even better to keep up in line with what you're currently doing if you want to keep it on your sacred timeline storyline. He was a scroll. The one in there was a scroll. You could easily do that. Rashad Walker said, I believe that so-called love for Chadwick by Marvel Studios was disingenuous to a degree. I believe that too. The man put pressure on them to pay him what he was owed, and they didn't like it. Right. I agree with that completely. See, I was going to go there with that about the whole them being disingenuous with their feelings because, we're so close with him. That's my brother, but you don't know that he had cancer. And again, you didn't have to share that information with you, but if you were as close as you say you were close with him, if that's your brother, that's your family, you would have known he was sick. This would not have been just as a shock to you. But again, I digress on that. Raymond said, I kind of like the video game trailer. Yeah, no, like I said, I think the trailer is dope. I said that on Twitter. I said the trailer is dope. The appearance, I think I don't remember who I replied to, but somebody said something about the appearance in their own tweet. And I replied to that tweet and said, yeah, the appearance threw me off as well. But the acting in the trailer overall is great. Okay. Darius said, don't be shocked if we get a Zendaya complexioned Storm in the MCU. Oh, brother, I won't be. I won't be. The MCU is the MCU. There's nothing that they do really anymore that just makes me say, wow, I can't believe that that's the decision that they went with. They have kind of shown in these past few years that don't be shocked if we disappoint you. Xavier said, they can't keep playing in our faces with live action Storm. I hope they don't try it again. Raptor Cloak said, heard DeWanda Wise wants a shot at Storm, and I hope she gets it pronto. What's the girl's name that's in the newest Jurassic Park? She said I forget her name. She said she wants the shot at Storm as well. I think there are a lot of sisters in the industry that would love a shot at Storm. Everybody saluting Henry. Tim's talk. Appreciate you being here. Everybody appreciates saluting Henry. He's probably watching, so he appreciates it. D Sizzle said that BP mash should stay on. That's Hollywood's y'all finna see me approach. Yeah. Let's see. Kyle said, how else would you have liked to see Marvel handle T'Challa? Isn't T'Challa Jr. basically a recast? How would you like to see them handle it? I feel like it's basically a recast. How else would they? Well, oh, okay. Sorry. Thought my dog was growling at something. There was plenty of ways that they could have handled that situation other than recasting, or I'm sorry, because that's not a recast in my opinion. To me, that's a replacement. You took a fictional character. They're all fictional, but you took a character that was never in place for the Black Panther lore or within this franchise or anything like that. And you are now going to take this kid, this black kid, so let me rewind it. Let me take it back from the very beginning here, I guess. There are too many stereotypes now with this as well. You've got a black child who's now going to grow up fatherless in the MCU. Well, within your MCU Black Panther franchise. When the Black Panther franchise and everything like that is supposed to be empowering and Black power, and we're supposed to be seeing, it's not our everyday life. And I'm not saying that every black child grew up without their father. I was one. I did not grow up with my father, but not every black child has that story. And, to play on that stereotype that, okay, he's going to grow up without his father, the struggles of not having his father, and things like that, that's just not something when I sit down in a fictional Marvel film, in a Black Panther film or whatever, where I want, and yeah, there are other MCU characters that didn't have their dads either, like Quill and things like that. But we're talking about a bastard child now who is going to not, or who's going to be in the MCU, taking on the Black Panther persona, mantle, whatever, and not going to have his father there to lead him. We're also talking about a character that was created in the height of the civil rights movement, a character that was created for young Black men and young Black boys. I don't know if you've ever seen the video or not, but Jack Kirby talked about in a video, and I have that video. It's in my computer. I'm not gonna go find it, but there's Jack Kirby has said in an interview a long time ago, a while back, way back. You can tell from the coloration of the video, the quality of the video, and everything. It's an old interview he did where he talked about how he was riding around and seeing all these people enjoying his comics. He saw all these people enjoying all these Marvel comics, but even the Black kids were enjoying his Marvel comics. But he noticed that while reading, they didn't have anybody in those comics that looked like them. So he thought to himself, I need to fix that. What can I do to fix, to give them a character that looks like them? So he made T'Challa the Black Panther. And he said, I made him virtuous. I made him regal. I made him a king. I made him rich. He made him everything that those Black little boys and Black men weren't experiencing during the height of the civil rights movement. He made T'Challa a window that Blacks could look into and see, hey, we are in the same playing field as a Captain America, as the Fantastic Four, where he debuted, as Spider-Man. But not only that, we're looking at T'Challa, and you're looking at this is a Black character that is extremely intelligent, that has several Ivy League degrees. We're talking about a character that is proficient in almost every form of martial arts. We're talking about a character that is the king of his own nation, that was never colonized. We're talking about a character that is not only king of his nation, but also protector of his nation. We're all talking about a character that doesn't just have a global presence, but has a universal presence, because Wakanda has a galactic empire. I mean, we're talking about being able to just sit back, and even if it's not real, even though it was not real, being able to sit back for that moment when you're reading a Black Panther book as a person of color and saying, damn, I felt like, I see that. I see myself. I feel like I'm there, even if it's not real, even if it's just for the moment. No different from when you go to the movie theater. No different from when everybody went and saw the Black Panther film the very first time. Everyone was enthralled. Even the people that were just introduced to the world, the rich, wonderful world of Wakanda, were enthralled with Wakanda, wanted to learn more about Wakanda, wanted to learn more about T'Challa. It's not even just important on that global scale, because in other countries, Black folks don't get that shine like that. China, look at the Black Panther poster. In America, his face was shown. Chadwick's face was on the poster, but in China, they put a mask over him. Why? Because Black doesn't sell in other countries like that. That skin tone doesn't sell in other countries like that. You look at the Star Wars poster from The Force Awakens, Episode 7. What did China do? In America, Finn, who is played by, I don't know why I'm forgetting names right now, but Finn, they took Finn and put him at the very back of the poster, shrunk him down. That's China. Why? Because Black doesn't sell over there. So why else was it important for T'Challa to continue on a screen so that you could see? And yes, you could even, you can make the argument that, well, you can see those qualities in some of the other Black characters, even in the T'Child, for other countries to be like, oh, well, because, let me finish that statement there. It's important for other countries to see us, for other places outside of even America to see us as more than just the thug in the movie. I was actually just watching the movie Devil today. I watched that movie Devil today. And if no one's ever seen it, it's the movie with where these 5 or 4 individuals are trapped in an elevator, and I've seen it many times, but I like the movie, so I watched it again today. And it's where they're trapped in the elevator, and they're all there for a reason. They're being judged by the devil, and he's taking them out one by one in this elevator. Well, when the cop shows up to investigate the elevator, he's naming off what each of them are, and there's only one black person in the elevator. He says, "Well, this woman's a thief. This woman is she I forget what she did, something with her husband. She married several different men or something like that. This guy, whatever. But when he got to the black guy, he said, in a thug." The movie came out in 2010. But see, that's what I mean when I say things like that. You have to even look at the Black Lives Matter movement. What were we called during that movement? Thugs. We were called thugs. We were called uneducated. We were called so many different things. And it's important for America and other countries to see us outside of the thug role, to see us outside of the absentee father role. He went and got to milk a carton and never came back. A carton of milk and never came back. To see us outside of the villain, to see us outside of all the other stereotypical things that we are typically viewed as in film. With the Black Panther, there was none of that. You didn't have him as he was the hero. He was the king. He was on his throne. We saw him in the throne room. We saw people bowing down to him. We saw black women and black men hand in hand working together, side by side, elevating one another. We saw a black utopia. We saw something that we would love to have. We as black folks, we know there's no fucking Wakanda. We know Wakanda's not real. But it's the idea. It's the idea that you could have a black euphoria like that. Something, again, no Wakanda, but Black Wall Street in Tulsa, the Tulsa Race Massacre. That's the closest I think we've ever gotten to a black Wakanda, a black Mecca. So it's important. That's why it's important for T'Challa to be on screen. That's why it's important. We don't want the replacement, because would you accept a replacement? Like, let put it this way. Marvel Studios comes out and says, or Sony, whoever comes out and says, we don't want, something happens, knock on wood, God forbid, something was to happen to Tom Holland. I've used this example. And Tom Holland is no longer able to play Spider-Man. And then they say, well, because Tom Holland, and I'm going to use the same thing they said about Chadwick Boseman, because Tom Holland did such a phenomenal job playing the character, and his character, his portrayal of the character transcends any iteration before him. It's for that reason we are never going to recast Spider-Man. But here's what you get. You're going to get his daughter. We made, you can have, not even a made-up character. Just use the daughter from the comics. His daughter's going to take his place in the comics and in our universe, and we're going to take his stories from the comics and have her portray those stories. That's the Spider-Man you get. How would the audience then take that? Better yet, how would the audience even take it if they even said, no more Peter Parker, you just get Miles Morales? That might piss some people off. It's important because we want that character. That's the character that started it all. It's the character that should end it all. It shouldn't be the character that just when we finally get the character on screen, we finally, after 50 plus years of waiting for people, and I say 50 plus years it's from his creation from the civil rights movement. 50 plus years of waiting and waiting and waiting for some, because I wasn't born. But 56 years or 50 plus years of waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for those people that were there when that first comic hit the shelves and said, man, if one day they ever do a film, man, I'm here for that. Finally got to sit down and see it in 2016. Then to hear in 2020, you're never going to get to see that character on screen again. Please point in a direction for me. And I'm not coming at you, Kyle. I'm just, and that's why I'm not yelling, because you asked, and I want to try to make sure anytime that, and you ask politely too. You didn't come in crazy like some of these other, like some anti-recasters do. And I'm not saying you're an anti-recaster either. So I want to try to answer the question, as best as I can. But so I don't know if you can, or if anybody can. No one has yet to. But please point me in a direction, in a direction where this has been done to any other character. Heath Ledger passed away. We actually currently have 2 Jokers. You have the Joker in Joaquin Phoenix, and you have the Joker that is played by Barry Keoghan. We currently have 2 Batmans. You have the Batman that is played by Pattinson, and whatever Batman is going to be cast in Gunn's universe. So it's this idea that these characters can't be recast, that these roles have to die because this person gave such a good performance, because the person did their job, because the person did what they are in Hollywood to do, and that's act and do their job. I think you know, and Chadwick Boseman has discussed this before in past interviews, where he has said he wants to pass the mantle. He doesn't want the role to stop with him, any role to ever stop with him, and that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way. Because if the role would have stopped with Heath Ledger, you would have never gotten the billion-dollar film that was The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. Because an actor plays a role so good, we never would be able. If that was the premise we rolled with, well, Tobey Maguire did Spider-Man so well, we would never be able to have the conversations. Oh, but Andrew, or oh, but Tom. You know, people are able to have those conversations. I can tell you my favorite Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield, where somebody else might tell you, well, my favorite's Tom, and we can debate about who's the better Spider-Man. You cannot do that with T'Challa, because you limited the role to one individual. You took the role and you buried it with one individual. Yeah, you're getting the kid. Yeah, you're getting those stories there with the kid, but you're not getting the authentic T'Challa. You're not getting T'Challa. It again, and this is the last example I'm going to use because I could go on and on. It'd be no different in this Superman film that you're about to watch in 2025 if they replace Kal-El with Val-Zod. Would that be acceptable? It wouldn't. If you wouldn't accept it for them, why is it acceptable for T'Challa? That's why it's important. Move down. Let me see. Thank you. Thank you, JD, for just the. I thought there was a question on there, but thank you just for sending that very, very, very generous 20 spot. That really means a lot. Thank you. Let me see here. Where were we? Gray said, no other franchise has ever launched a property without the main character as much as Marvel has. When it's Cap, they center Cap. When it's Tony or Peter, they're center of their story. T'Challa, though, BS. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's kind of exactly what I was just saying there. You know, these characters being the central point of their stories and everything like that. We just did not get that with T'Challa, and it just really sucks. You know, I even watched Civil War the other day. I told you, anytime I ever get on Disney Plus is for nostalgia purposes. He is handled so well in Civil War. I know we've talked about that many times, but he is handled so well in Civil War. The Russos, they get it. They get it. That's why I want the Russos to come back for the X-Men. I would love for the Russos to come. That's something they want to do. They've said they want to do that. I don't know if they ever will, but I would love for them to. Let's see. Moving down. Kyle said again, I'm just confused on what else we would have wanted them to do. How else could they recast T'Challa? Giving him a son makes the most sense. Also, too, I guess I didn't mention that part. I had said it, you know, currently that what they're doing in the MCU, we had Secret Invasion. It was a disaster. Disaster. I remember I had said when Secret Invasion, when it was announced, and it was announced as a TV show, I had said then, why? How are you accurately telling one of Marvel's biggest events, comic events, in a 6-episode TV show? Well, then we were also told, well, how we're doing it, it's going to be basically like a 6-hour movie. Every episode's going to be an hour. And I was like, oh, okay, that could work. We were lied to. It wasn't. And it was a terrible show. But what they could do is, since they are currently telling that storyline, Secret Invasion storyline is not done. That still has to, there are still plot points of that have to carry out in what they're still in the universe, the Marvel Cinematic Timeline, the sacred timeline. Easily could have made T'Challa a Skrull. I mean, I think we've shown this maybe before. Oops, how did I spell brother's name? Yeah, I think we've shown this maybe before. Damn, how am I? Sorry. This could have been done. This is something that could have been done. In the comics, the Black Panther that the Skrulls had was a Skrull. They could easily dope comic, bro. They could easily say that the Skrull that they sent up in that beam was not T'Challa and was a Skrull. There were several Skrulls from maybe there. They've done such a poor job on that too. There are Skrulls within the MCU. We learned that Rhodey was a Skrull. So that entire time, that Rhodey was a Skrull. That entire time. To be honest with you, I wouldn't mind them saying, this is just me. This is just, if you got to make it make sense. Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind them saying it's a Skrull. I mean, that to me, that's the way it, to me, that it could, one way that it could make sense. There's others, but this is one way that you could make it make sense. So I think that's it's within the MCU right now. It's something that they could do. Let's see. Official MG said, I like the Ultimate Spider-Man and introduced me to White Tiger, so I'm very thankful for that. Yeah, I think White Tiger is great. I mean, like I said, I think for a ground level show, it could be a very good show. It really could be. Tyrone said they could have pulled from the Old Republic. Yeah, bro. I mean, and to be honest with you, I said this the other day when I was talking to Henry and Jay. I was like, I'm okay if I don't want this current regime over at Disney or Lucasfilm to touch the Old Republic. I do not. Don't. Continue to do your Ray shit. Do your Ray shit, la da 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 dee dee da, and do not touch the Old Republic. And because there's no way forward with Star Wars right now. That's why I didn't want to say this earlier, because it would have cut into my Black Panther stuff, but we're here, so I'm gonna say it. The stuff going on with Star Wars right now, this gaps. Everything is in the gaps. Star Wars does not move forward. Star Wars hasn't progressed since 2015 when they made Episode 7, and we all accepted Episode 7 because we were told that after George Lucas made Episode 3, that was it, no more. But when Disney acquired the rights to Lucasfilm and Star Wars, they were like, okay, now we're making a 7, 8, and 9. We were thrilled. We were like, oh my God, yes, more Star Wars. Set down in 7, people left knowing that was A New Hope, but God, it was so cool because we got to see Star Wars. We weren't so easily fooled with 8. Fuck no with 9. And then now you got this talking about wanting to do this stuff with 10 or 11 or 10, 11, and 12. Actually, I take that back. It's no longer 10, 11, and 12. This Rey movie, there's 2 Rey movies. two rumored Rey movies. There's the Rey movie that's supposed to take place after. It's not in 10, 11, or 12. It just takes place after the events of the Skywalker saga. Then there's a Rey movie that they want to do with Levy. Is it Levy? Is it Sean Levy that's doing that? I think it is. The same director, Sean, that's doing Deadpool, I believe. Where they want to bring in Helen Mirren as an older version of Rey, and throughout the film, she's having flashbacks. I'm telling you. I don't want this current regime to touch the Old Republic. If these are the ideas that you're coming out with, where you're going to have Helen Mirren playing a character that we don't give a fuck about if she's young, to go back to flashbacks that we don't give a fuck about, even if they weren't flashbacks, if they were just happening in the film, keep it. Keep it, take it, lock it away, throw it in the Disney vault. No one wants to see that. That's when I'm thinking Star Wars, stop doing this in between shit. And I'm a prequel. I was introduced during the prequel, so I love the prequels. I love Clone Wars. I love Rebels. I love those shows. But I'm done with the Skywalker saga. God, man. I don't want to see these in between shows. Like Bad Batch for me right now is another Bad Batch. Because it's like the first 4 episodes were great, bro. Those first 4 episodes those were good. But this last one with Finnick pissed me off to no end because it's the same formula. It's a PlayStation game. Beat the big bad monster, get some intel, flee a planet, on to the next mission. It's literally a video game. And it's this stupid thing where they're like, we get it. Palpatine's trying to clone himself right now. It's dealing with Project Necromancer. Like, I get it. That whole last episode was surrounded around the mystery of what M count is. When you have an audience that has been here since day goddamn one, we all know what the fuck the M count is. Skip that shit. Why are we having to, as the audience, having to sit and suffer with the while watching these characters try to figure out what the M count is? Meanwhile, we're screaming at the TV what the fucking M count is. We get it. It's a stupid dance, bro. And this next week's episode is only going to pop because Asajj is going to finally show up. That is going to be the most watched episode. That outside of maybe that Palp episode, but this is probably going to be the most watched episode because it's just like, and then after that episode, I don't know what's going to happen with Asajj. She should be dead. She shouldn't even be in this, but hey, I digress on that too. We don't know what's going to happen with Asajj after this, but I don't know where the show goes from here. What happens? I've said it the last time we talked about it. Personally, again, it's still that whole, here's Darth Vader, dangling Darth Vader in our face thing. I would really love for the Bad Batch to die. And that's not me saying like I dislike the Bad Batch. I like the Bad Batch, but we're obviously we know, this is what I mean about doing in-between shit. We know he doesn't get Omega because we see him in Rise of Skywalker, and we know how all that shit goes. We know he doesn't get Omega. Even before Rise of Skywalker, in Revenge and everything, we know he doesn't get Omega. So what happens to her? Does she, if the show ends where the Bad Batch flies off into the fucking galaxy sunset, the twin suns, and there's no, like, it's just like, and they, and that's the end of it. What a waste of 3 seasons. Like, I hate the first season. I hate the second season. I like certain episodes. But it's all just a big Grand Theft Auto mission game. Like, I don't understand it. So, if that's where we end with Bad Batch, I don't, there's just more in between shit. Like, it's just going to be more in between. So, no. No. I'm scrolling down a little bit. And thank you, JD. I saw that. I saw what you just said. Thank you. It's not something you have to do at all. I definitely appreciate it though. Gray said Dick Grayson in the Batman suit doesn't make him Bruce Wayne. There's a reason why he or anyone else hasn't taken over for Bruce Wayne. He's the main character, and that's who fans have enjoyed. Exactly. I think I was just talking about this again the other night with Jay because we were watching some of the animated Batman or DC films on HBO, and I forgot what the context was. Something happened. Forgot what it was, but it was something where I was like, see, no one cares unless Batman is like, if it's Batman, Batman needs to be present. Like, no one, I'm not watching no Batman shit without Batman. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Penguin, I'm not watching the Penguin. The reason I'm not watching the Penguin, let me not say I'm not watching it because I don't know. That was one trailer. The trailer didn't move the needle for me. Didn't make me say, Oh man, I can't wait for the Penguin. Even the rumors that Pattinson's supposed to show up in an episode doesn't make me. I might watch that episode, but it doesn't make me want to watch the overall show of the Penguin. I don't know, bro. We just got to stop with this not using the characters. I don't know. It's the same reason I didn't watch it. I know a lot of people did. I don't know. He could have shown up in those shows like Gotham and things like that. Like, but I just don't. I don't waste my time on stuff like that if they're not there. Let's see. D Sizzle said Darth Plagueis name drop in Return of the Sith or Revenge of the Sith. Sorry, is canon, but he might not even be Mun in the Disney canon. No, he may not be, which is crazy. Bro. Like, you know, the time frame that this is set in with the High Republic, I don't know if they would want. Maybe they don't use Plagueis. Whatever, fine, cool. You could use Tenebrae though, his master. You could use him easily. You could say that he was the Sith around during this time. I mean, it is the High Republic. That would have been toward the end of that time. Plagueis would have been around. This is only 100 or 200 years before the New Republic, before Phantom Menace. So I would say both could be around. I would say Plagueis probably hasn't killed Tenebrae right now, maybe. Because we really don't have a timeline on that, canon wise. I mean, we do from the books, but not canon wise. But I don't know. It'd be interesting. The Lawrence Report said Alice Hodges for Black Panther. Yes, we've talked about that one too. Would love to see that. Let's see. Sorry, trying to scroll through, picking one. Oh, Stamina said Wolverine will be cast, no doubt. Of course. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Wolverine will definitely be recast. Who just recently said they wouldn't mind playing Wolverine? Somebody, that might have just been somebody trying to fan cast. I don't think they said that. I don't remember who it was either. Dan the Man said T'Challa will be back in Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars for sure. I would love to put a for sure on that, but I can't. I cannot. I would love to put a for sure on that. I can't though. You know, we've talked about the whole they might do T'Challa or T'Challa in Avengers 5 or in Secret Wars. They might do that and they may not. The reason I've said they might is because they do know the effects of, you know, people wanting to see certain characters and things like that. That could be a thing. But if we do see him in that, it is, as I've said before, it's for the movie. It's for Secret Wars and for Avengers 5. And I'm still highly doubting both. But it's for Secret Wars and Avengers 5. If anything, it's just going to be Suri. But you're not going to get, I don't think we would get one. And if you do, it's going to be dangled. And it's like, okay, universe, whatever, go back. Now, if the rumor is true that at the end of everything that they are going to take, just like in the comics, take those, whatever world they build at the end of this film is going to be the main world or whatever universe. Maybe the T'Challa that they're not. This is a maybe. I'm just humoring you. Maybe the world that that they put together, the worlds that they were putting back together and things like that. Maybe that Black Panther from that universe, the Wakanda from there got pieced. A piece of that world got pieced in with the new world or whatever, and maybe he's now the Black Panther. I really don't see it. I don't. And the reason I do not see it is for what I've said before. They have dug their heels in deep. Maybe, as I said earlier in the stream, maybe they're now sitting around thinking, okay, if Eyes of Wakanda fails or if this doesn't do well or whatever. I have a hard time believing it because, again, it took them seconds to decide not to recast T'Challa, but maybe they do. Maybe they do, but I have a really hard time believing that they do anything other than the T'Challa, because again, our heels were dug in. We made a point. We're trying to stick to that point. it would be us dishonoring Chadwick if we said we're doing this to honor him, and now we're going back on that honor and da da da. I'm telling you, I just don't see it. I don't see it, and it's the same thing. Like, you know, and again, I'm not diminishing anybody trying to campaign for Jonathan Majors. Marvel's not bringing him back. Like that's not happening. Marvel is not gonna. They publicly fired Jonathan Majors, okay? The same way they publicly said, because of that reason, we are never going to recast T'Challa again. A hole was dug. A statement was made publicly. That doesn't mean they can't retract that public statement. I just don't see this big billion-dollar company that has dug so deep in some of the decisions that they've made saying, you know what? They were right. They might say it behind closed doors, but I don't think that they're going to come out and be like, let's put him back on screen. Let's do this. Let's recast him, because it would just diminish the whole thing they did at the Disney Plus, the D23 celebration, when they got out and made it so serious and so somber. And it's for those reasons we are not going to be recasting the character. And then, you could even bring up the article when Kevin Feige said, what was it, last year, the year before last? At the time, it was just too soon. I know a lot of people ran with that comment. I know we covered that article when he said it. At the time, it was just too soon. We didn't feel it was the right time to recast T'Challa. Some people thought that, is this hope? Is this Kevin Feige saying that it just wasn't the right time then, and they're going to recast him later on? I think when we first covered that article, I was like, maybe. But as time has gone on, I have said, as in recent, I believe that comment was put out there to shush the crowd, to hush that recast crowd. And I even strongly more so believe that the end credit scene in For Never was to say, boom, now really shut up. You got him. This is what it is. It ain't going to be the way y'all want it, because nothing in the MCU ever really goes the way the fan. They're going to craft their makeshift MCU the way they want to. They're going to craft and do their characters the way they want to. And I don't see that Kang shit is gone. You're going to see Kang, but it ain't gone. Jonathan Majors is not coming back to Disney or Marvel. T'Challa, I'm putting it in the same boat. I just don't see it. I just don't. And again, I would love to be wrong. I'm not sitting here saying I want this. I want to be wrong. I want to be able to sit up here and say, damn it, they did it. I was wrong. I'm so glad I was wrong. They put T'Challa back on screen. I just don't see that one happening. I don't see them doing that. That's just not a move I see Marvel and Disney making. Let's see. Yeah, like Stamina said, Kang Dynasty ain't no way T'Challa's in that. No, not happening. Grace said, which is crazy because T'Challa is the only MCU character who has been the only $1 billion films where in three of the 4 films he was the focus of the plot involved him. Or the plot involved him. Sorry, I'm reading yours and got a notification. In the 3 of the 4 films, he was the focus. Or the plot involved him. And yes, that is very true too. Stamina, hold on, let me answer this. Okay. Stamina said, Secret Invasion should have been an entire phase. Yeah. Dan the Man said, in the meantime, we got Grandpappy Black Panther in 1943, his ancestors in Eyes of Wakanda, and whoever will be the mantle in the video game, although they did say T'Challa, Scott, and Peter will return in Marvel Zombies. Oh, they said that T'Challa's going to return in Marvel Zombies. Dan the Man said... Gina Ortega for the White Tiger, post Born Again. Let's see.
Tyrone said Star Wars is basically a fantasy sci-fi with limbs being chopped off. Whatever happened to that? That whole team up with all those Jedi at the end, I have to wait. Gotta wait to see. If I'm saying this right. Jay Namakai said they need to focus on completely new and different era. Yeah, I'm tired of being in the prequel and the OG trilogy timeline. It's getting redundant at this point. We get it. Empire bad. Yes, we get it. Empire fucking bad. Can we move on? And when we say move on, not move on to a bigger Empire threat. Like not move on to, okay, it's not the Empire anymore. It's the First Order, and it's not the Death Star anymore. It's the whatever the fuck they called it. What is it? Star Killer Base, and it's not as little as the Death Star. It's bigger, and it's not Palpatine. It's Snoke, and it's not Vader. It's his like how yeah. When we say move on, we get it, but move on to something different. Like a lot of people don't know who the Griss are. A lot of people don't know who the Yustan Vaughn are. A lot of people don't know, that there are many things outside the unknown regions other than the things that we know in the known Star Wars universe. Other threats out there outside of the Empire. Like the Chiss ascendancy, for example. Everybody knows Thrawn, everybody loves Thrawn. For the people that were introduced to Thrawn, for those of us that really know Thrawn, that know the lore of Star Wars and things like that, I've talked about this many times when talking about Thrawn. Thrawn does not give 1, 2, red, blue, green, yellow fucks about the Empire. He does not. Now, in whatever they're doing in this new canon stuff with Thrawn, he may give somewhat of a semblance of a fuck. I don't know. But in the Thrawn's here to make sure that the Chiss ascendancy doesn't need to take out the Empire. There are bigger threats other than the Empire in the Star Wars universe. They just don't want to explore it. Yeah, Thrawn wasn't sent here to join the Empire. Thrawn was sent here to make sure that the Empire isn't a fucking threat that the Chiss need to take care of. So think about that. The Empire is this big, bad, entity in the known Star Wars galaxy, but they sent one person to make sure that we just don't need to take care of them. Do we need to handle this? Is this going to be a problem for us? That's what I mean. I would say there's other threats. The Griss, the Yustan Vaughn are not affected by the Force. Then what? It's like, and they're super intelligent, and most of their ships and things are it's like bio. There's so many other threats that you could use out there other than somehow Palpatine returned. Like, that's so fucking lazy. That is so fucking lazy. Let's see. D Stizzle said Acolyte apparently 100 years before the Phantom Menace. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was like 100 or 200 years before the Phantom Menace. I think it has something to do with that Eclipse game, if they're even still doing that. I think that's going to be around that same time. They have the Eclipse in the logo. The circle on the Acolyte looks like an eclipse. It looks like the same eclipse from the video game Eclipse that came out. That trailer came out in 2020. Still haven't seen anything from that, but I think it all kind of ties into whatever they're trying to do with the High Republic. I mean, I'm not, and really, maybe all might depend and hinge on the success of Acolyte. I really don't see Acolyte being successful. I really don't. I think it's like got the most dislikes right now, or something like that, of the trailers or so. I don't know, but I don't see it being successful. Gray said Jake Gyllenhaal. Yes, that's who it was. Jake Gyllenhaal has expressed his interest in wanting to play, and I would be okay with Jake Gyllenhaal. I would think I'd be more happy with what's his name? That one guy. Fuck, that narrows it down. Who came out before Jake Gyllenhaal and said that they expressed interest in wanting to play Batman? I choose him. I forget his name though. Big buff dude. He's got the jaw line for it. I forget his name. I pick him. Andre said, could T'Challa be in the Fantastic Four and come with them into the main universe? In a perfect world, in a world that cares about. I don't see that. I don't see that. And the reason I say that The reason I say I don't see that, we know quite a bit about the Fantastic Four right now. We know quite a bit about the Fantastic Four. And some of the things we know about the Fantastic Four, the film, don't involve T'Challa. Now, it could be a thing where, oh, surprise, here's T'Challa, Reed's friend. I don't see it. I don't see that they're that they do that, or that they know them. Or that they bring him in. I think that wasn't there something, I'm trying to remember. Was there something that said that they were going to be the only heroes of their universe? I can't remember, but I don't think so. No. Raymond said, "Could we honestly say the MCU has reached its end point and it's going up from here?" And it's not going up from here. I have to wait until not Deadpool. Deadpool's going to be a fucking amazing ride. Not Deadpool. Cap 4 and some of these remaining projects and whatever else there, that we have to wait and see. It's one of those wait and see things. And I know it's like, well, damn, how much longer are we going to be waiting? It's been 2 fucking phases since Endgame and this shit's not getting any better. All we can cling on to right now is the hope from some of the things that Bob Iger has said in this most recent. I know a lot of people don't like it when the executives get involved with the creative process, but in this instance, I don't mind Iger getting involved and saying, "Okay, this shit's stupid. Let's not do it." Eternals 2. Why it was ever on the table for there to be an Eternals 2? I'm not saying don't play out some of the things that happen. Like, there's things that happen that need to be addressed in the MCU, obviously. And we've talked about the main one. Big ass fucking Tiamat sticking out the fucking ocean. No one's talked about it. No one's talked about Arishem showing up in the clouds. A big ass celestial showed up, hovered over Earth, and said, "I'm coming back to judge you." No one's talking about it. So yes, there are themes that need to be addressed from Eternals, but Eternals never needed to be a film in the first place. I said that from the beginning. This was back kind of when Disney Plus wasn't the Disney Plus that it is now. I said Eternals probably would have been better received as a series or a presentation where you could, introduce all of the Eternals properly. Because that third act just is ass. It sucks. The movie's not bad. Like I said, after my 16th watch, it's not bad. It took me 16 times to say, you know what, maybe. But it's not bad. But now what they're doing with merging the Eternals with the rumored merging it with Thor 5, that makes that I can ride with that. I can ride with that, and I can ride with that because in the comics, Thor does know they know the Eternals. Also in the Eternals film, Kingo and Gilgamesh Kingo mentions how Thor used to follow him around. Gilgamesh mentions how the whatever he cooked, he got as a recipe from Odin. Yeah, they aren't big references, and they can be looked at as little jokes within the film, but they're still references in the movie within the sacred timeline, which means the Eternals know Thor. The Eternals know the Asgardians. They know Odin, and in the comics, like I said, the Asgardians and the Celestials have gone to war with one another with the help of the Eternals. Also, something that is mentioned that the Eternals were there during the very first Thor movie when Odin fought the Frost Giants. So the rumor right now is that the Eternals are going to join Thor in Thor 5. And to me, that is a much better concept than trying to go with an Eternals 2, where it's simply focused on Eternals. I feel like it's more so real than a rumor because it kind of goes on to what Bob Iger was saying, putting focus back on the characters that make money. Thor is a character that makes money, regardless of Thor 4 being what it was. Thor: Love and Thunder was trash. It was terrible. Arguably, I said this when I left the theater, arguably worse than Dark World. I know, crazy, right? But terrible movies, terrible films that did not take away me wanting to see Thor. Because no matter who you are, when Thor lands in Wakanda in Infinity War, That shit is dope as fuck. Thor in Infinity War is tough. That's Thor. Ragnarok, I love Ragnarok. I know a lot of people are iffy on Ragnarok. Ragnarok is in my top 5. I love Ragnarok. So I know Thor Love and Thunder was terrible. That wasn't Hemsworth, and that really was Marvel just letting, that was in that phase 4, phase 5 era of Marvel, thinking that they shit didn't stink, that they could do anything and people were just going to accept it. And they quickly found out that no, this is not in-game era. This is not phase 4 or phase 3 era. We're in a completely different era where they're not accepting bullshit. So it's like, you know, it just makes more sense to me that you would have Thor with them. I mean, there are comic storylines that they could go off of that would make sense with where we currently are in the MCU. So, I would really like for that to be the route that they go with that. So maybe it's reached this point. Maybe it hasn't. I would say we just have to wait and see. There are things coming on the horizon. Tyrone said they flopped Kang and Ant-Man Quantumania anyway. They did. He got beat by ants. Yeah. D-Sizzle said too many cats took that TJ or to Junior. Raymond said, I've said it before, but Phase 4 should have covered the transition from the Infinity Thanos situation to the multiverse stuff. Phase 5, we get into the multiverse, and Kang and the House of M. Yeah. I agree. Oh, yeah. Well, I'll get to that in just a second, Ty. Where he said they forgot about Lando. Oh, I'll move to that actually. Well, actually, no. Before I come to that, D-Sizzle said, T'Challa represents the big picture in black superhero representation. It's bigger than just one character. One character can't save a universe ran by comic haters. Yeah. Ty said they forgot about Lando. Boy, did they. They mentioned that show back in 2019, but I'm going to be honest with you. In 2019, you had my interest. When they said, oh, we're going to do a Lando show, I said, oh, why? But okay, that could be interesting. I'd pay attention to Land. Don't give a flying fuck. Keep it. In 2019, when I was naive and new to your Disney Plus, I was like, sure, Mandalorian was fucking great. It was amazing. Let's do it. Fuck you. Keep Lando. I know they're doing it because, what's his name that played him? I always get Donald. Donald is going to be, and his brother are writing the script in the show and all that stuff. So we'll see. I'll tell you what, if I'm Disney and Iger, maybe that was quietly canceled. Because if I'm Iger, if I walk into the Lucasfilm studio when I'm looking at the upcoming projects, I don't know if anybody has ever watched the making of Revenge of the Sith. George would walk in with a stamp, and he'd stamp shit that he liked on the storyboard and X shit that he didn't. That wouldn't get my stamp. That would not get my stamp. As a matter of fact, that would get ripped because it's just like that. Why are we doing this? So maybe, but no. The Lando series, keep it. Keep the Lando series. Let's see. D-Sizzle said, crazy threats out in wild space beyond the outer rim. Yeah, crazy, bro. There's so much. Dan said the Gris used Han Vaughn. Abeloth, yes. Torvalum, Darth Jar. No, fuck Darth Jar Jar. The Eclipse villain. Revan's light and dark side. Yep. Talon. You know, again, for those that don't know, the original 7, 8, and 9 were going to be where it was going to be Leia and her kids. Leia and the twins. She was going to be, the threat was going to be Darth Maul. The villain was going to be Maul. He was going to have his apprentice Talon. They were going to be the new threats going after the New Republic. Luke was still going to, of course, be there and have the trying to build the new Jedi Order and things like that, or built the new Jedi Order by that time. Just it was a much better storyline than what's your name? Ray Skywalker. Jesus. Yeah, nobody wanted that. Nobody wanted that. Andre said, I got into a Twitter battle because of my take on I saw your Twitter battle. Because of your take on Bucky not being Cap 4 with Sam. I said Sam should have stayed the Falcon and Bucky should have stayed Cap. Yeah, I saw that Twitter battle. Oh yeah, they did bring up Tiamat in that shit show. Wait a minute. Yeah, in the She-Hulk. Yeah. They did. I forget that because the show was just shit. I forget that. I forget about She-Hulk kind of often also. Raptor, not talking to me. Not Again 90 said, come to think of it, Kang only looked invincible in the Loki series. He looked pretty weak in the films. Yeah. He looked great in the As He Who Remains. The opening when he first walks in as Kang, then when Quantum Mania, I thought he showed real power, but I thought that was the only time when he was threatening Scott and telling he scooped up Cassie and said, "I will kill her in front of you and make you relive this moment over and over and over again until you tell me unless you tell me what I'm looking for." That was dope. That was the thing that got me excited when that scene leaked from SDC or whatever the fuck they showed it at. I was like, oh, that's an exciting scene. This is what we got to look forward to. But then that was peak. That was it. It stopped there. From there, he got beat up by ants. Let's see. Then the man said Lando got turned into a movie. Yeah. It's still happening. They asked Billy D. Williams actually was interviewed not too long ago, and he was talking about what he told Don to, or how he told him to portray. I thought he did a great job in the Solo movie. I thought he was a great Lando. I really did. Again, around that time, if you would have told me let's do a Lando series, I would have said that's cool because I really loved his portrayal. I just don't know that a Lando series is going to garner the viewership. I just people didn't watch Ahsoka, who has a lightsaber. Okay? Ahsoka started off strong, but the viewership declined because people got sick of the bullshit, but the viewership declined. Ahsoka has a lightsaber, something that people are like, ooh, that's cool. Yeah, you can make the argument that Andor did great and there's no lightsabers in it. Andor didn't do great. And I know people think Andor did great. Andor did not do great. The Nielsen numbers that came out for Andor were not good numbers. Andor did not do great. Just like Ahsoka. So I'm looking at the Lando series. I'm looking at Ahsoka and I'm thinking, okay, there was lightsabers in Ahsoka. There were magic from the Night Sisters. You had Thrawn, who's a Legends character that people love. You've got continuing themes from Rebels, and everybody loved Rebels. Well, not everybody loved Rebels. Most people really liked Rebels. It had all that going for it. You had Darth Vader, Anakin showed up. You had all that, and still the show did not do well. I don't know what at Lucasfilm makes them think a Lando series or a Lando movie is gonna pop. This is that dense, dumbass fucking thinking. It's not. It's not. And is this a movie that's going to theaters? Because save your money. No one's going to go watch it. Or is this going straight to Disney Plus? And even then, there are things that are going straight to Disney. Better. Captain Marvel. No one went and saw it in theaters. No one watched it on Disney Plus. That's the numbers. This is not just me hating or anything, because I don't hate Captain Marvel, as I've said many times. I don't hate Star Wars. In fact, I love it more than Marvel. I'm just giving you the realistic what it is. No one watched Captain Marvel in theaters. No one watched it when it dropped on Disney Plus. No one watched the assemble of making the show. No one's going to watch Lando. No one's going to watch Lando. It's a waste of time. A waste of time. Like D Stizzle said, especially Donald's Land. Like no one's. It's a waste. Andre said, I fell asleep during the Ant-Man and Quantumania. Dan said, big dog folks love yeah, they do love him. They do love Donald Glover. They do, especially after Atlanta and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They do love Donald Glover. But what we're talking about people love Darth Vader too. People love Darth Vader too. Darth Vader is the number one movie villain of all time. You can look that up yourself. The number one movie villain of all time is Darth Vader. People love Darth Vader. Love him. I love Darth Vader. One of my favorite movie villains. Darth Vader showed up in Ahsoka. No one watched. Darth Vader showed up in Obi-Wan. No one watched. We're talking about Darth Vader, who is a Star Wars, and Lando. Who cared when Lando showed up in Rise of Skywalker? Like, cool, Billy D. Williams came back as great. Who cared about, like, that's my thing. People can love Donald Glover all they want, and yes, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is one thing, but those are two. Mr. and Mrs. Smith is a recreation of what Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt did. Boom, boom, boom. Cool. TV show. People love it. People love the Mr. and Mrs. Smith movie. Atlanta, cool. Original series. People love it. Star Wars is not an original series. Star Wars has been done. You're putting Donald Glover's name attached to Star Wars. So when you go tell these Atlanta and Mr. and Mrs. Smith fans who are not all, and I don't know that they are or not, but who likely are not Star Wars fiction fans like that, what interest would I have? My interest is just because I like Donald Glover. I'm going to go watch a Lando series that's probably going to tie into shit that I have no clue, because I'm not a Star Wars fan. I have no clue what any of this means. I don't know who Han Solo is. I might have heard it. Oh yeah, the guy Harrison Ford plays. Where is he at? Is his character, like, that's the thing. Like, no one is going to care. No, like it's going to be a show about what? The same thing I was kind of wondering with Obi-Wan. It's a show about what? When they announced Obi-Wan. Everything we've known about Obi-Wan from the longest was that Obi-Wan kept his old ass on Tatooine and watched over Luke and did not fucking leave. Then all of a sudden he goes off on this one-ass mission and goes and meets Leia way before he's even supposed to meet Leia. It doesn't make sense. So no, it's just like with the Lando shit. He did. Gray, like Gray said, Billy D gave him that print shade. Billy definitely did. Billy said he doesn't see him as I think he did a good job in Solo, though. He said he doesn't see him as Lando. He said, but he told him be charming or be charismatic or whatever the fuck he said. So it's just like, I don't even see casual Star Wars fans watching Lando. I'm sitting here trying to think of what the draw would be. Like, what would the draw be to where you want to go watch Lando? That better be one hell of a fucking trailer. Let me put it that way. I'll leave it at that. That better be one hell of a fucking trailer. It better be some shit that's like, oh my God, Lando is a must watch. Because right now, there's nothing in Star Wars' bag that they're going to release. And you're talking to a major, nothing that they're going to release that's going to make anybody, casual or uncasual, say, oh, that shit's about to pop. It's not happening. It's not. It's just not. Stamina said, don't know about comparative numbers, but of those who watched either and are all and are at all positive thereafter, more positive circles and or than Ahsoka. Yeah, my casual self was left wanting by Ahsoka. Yes, like Ahsoka. I love moments of Ahsoka. I didn't watch it. I watched the first episode of Andor. No. Ahsoka, I loved the moments of Ahsoka. There were moments of Ahsoka that were great, but for me overall, Ahsoka was a very slow burn. Like it was until you get to some of that Ahsoka did what every one of these Disney Plus shows do. It's like we find like we spent the entirety of the show trying to get to Thrawn, okay? The entirety of the show trying to get to Thrawn. We finally get to Thrawn, and then they say, well, Thrawn's now off this planet. You guys are stuck here. So this next season, we're going to spend the entirety of that season, or at least half of that season, trying to get off that goddamn planet to get back to Thrawn. And it's like, when do we move here? Like, what is... We spent just way too much time on bullshit. Way too much time on bullshit. And then there's other things that still have to be covered in Ahsoka. The Mortis gods. What the fuck? What, like, how did the Mortis gods play into this? Ray Stevens' character and fucking what's her name? The apprentice. I forget names. I've forgotten their names. Even though he was one of the best parts of the show. All those things. Like, there's so much to go on in the Ahsoka season 2, whatever. But it's just, they've got a lot of ground to cover, and they've got to stop this whole slow burn, big reveal at the last episode. Like, then you got to wait for a whole nother season to get the big reveal. It's just, yeah. They've got to do better. They have to do better. Grace said a new Lando would garner interest from Lando fans, not Donald Glover fans. I would agree with that too. Yes. So Dan said Vader's number 3 after Hannibal Lecter and Norman Bates, according to Google. Okay, so at one point, I don't know, Vader was at the top. If he's in the top 3, he's still in that top 3. He's still one of the number 1 villains of all time, recognized by people that aren't even Star Wars fans. If you don't even have to be it's the same, kind of the same. You don't have to be a Star Wars fan. People know who Darth Vader is. I implore you to go out and ask people, show people a picture of Billy D or Donald as Lando, and they're like, what is that from? People aren't Vader. That's the thing though. We're comparing Vader, Lando. What are we doing? Like, what? Not even in the same playing field. Samina said Star Wars equals movies. It captured multi-generational hearts that way. Yes. Gray said you would have to run the whole thing back with new characters at this point. Oh no, that's what. Are you talking about with Star Wars? I've said but what I'm thinking though with Star Wars is we don't even start with the same characters. I don't need to see a retelling of Phantom Menace. I know what's his name, Matthew Vaughn. Said that he thinks that he wants a shot at retelling the Sky. We don't need to see the Skywalker saga retold. It's fine. It's fine. I want to see something different in Star Wars. Something different. That's where that conversation of Dune and Star Wars comes in. Dune, your mileage may vary. Dune is no Star Wars. Dune is great. Dune is great. I'm not a major Dune fan like that. I thought that second one was. I liked the first one a lot, and I thought that second one was fucking phenomenal. Dune, and I saw a lot of people before I saw it comparing it to Empire. Hell, John Campea said on his show that the fight between Timothy Chalamet and Austin Butler made Ray Parks and Ewan McGregor's fight in Phantom Menace look like slow motion. Bullshit. No, it didn't. Dune's great, but I think a lot of people are just so high on this is so new, this is so different, that's it. People are looking for the next big thing, the next new thing, something that's not the same repetitive shit we've seen before. That's the same thing with Star Wars. No one wants to see the repetitive ass shit. Move forward, go away from the Skywalker saga, stop filling in gaps, get some new creatives in here. No one gives a fuck about Lando. No one gives a fuck about seeing in between shit. No one gives a fuck about Rey. It's just like move forward. Read the fucking room. That's what it's about. Reading the room. Knowing what people fucking want. SB Flash said the world between worlds still being a thing. That too. That did not get explained. The world, maybe the world between worlds is not supposed to be explained. Let me retract that statement as well. You know, Filoni has done interviews talking about, done an interview talking about the world between worlds, and it was more mysterious to me before I started that interview. So I don't. It's the world between worlds is it's a concept. I don't know. Let's see. Diesel said, I dig Ahsoka, but the weak Sabine stuff dragged it down a bit. Yes. The Sabine stuff I did not care for. I don't like, I get it. I know George said that the Force resides in all living things. But that does not mean that everyone has the fucking Force and can just use it that way. When you've never used it before. I hate that. You know, that was one of my complaints with Rey. It took Luke. We watched Luke get his hand cut off. We watched Luke go through rigorous training in Dagobah. We watched Luke lose friends. We watched Luke get his ass beat by the fucking not that it's not a why am I mind blanking? I don't even want to say it like this because it's going to make me look the snow monster. Jesus, I hate saying it like that. I'm blanking on names and shit. But we watched Luke get his ass beat. We watched Luke go through everything Luke has gone through. And in episode 7, when she didn't even know who the fuck she was just a scavenger on where the fuck, Batu. Was it Batu? No, it's not Batu. Wherever the fuck Rey's from. Got on that Star Destroyer, had just learned about what the Force was and all that shit, and used it. And not only used it, but used a mind trick. Do you know, in order for you to be a Force wielder and mind control someone, the years of practice that takes as a Force wielder, what you have to be able to turn someone's mind like that. You know, Qui-Gon, an experienced Jedi master. Well, Qui-Gon wasn't a master. He was offered the rank of master, but because they viewed Qui-Gon to be eccentric, he was only ever a Jedi Knight. Qui-Gon, obviously it doesn't work on Waddle's, species, but Qui-Gon even tried to use, didn't work on, so I'm just like, the fact that Rey has the Force so easily, and can just use the Force like that is no different from when Sabine did it. When she Force pushed Ezra onto Thrawn's ship so he could escape the planet. I just don't like that. I just don't like stuff like that. It doesn't make sense to me. Some can struggle with the Force, and some it just comes so goddamn naturally. And with Rey and Sabine, I guess, hey. This comes natural. And yes, I know Sabine trained with Ahsoka off screen. I know. I'm aware. I still don't like it. Why did it happen? I don't like it. SP Flash said I said that one. Stamina said Dune is amazing, but don't know if they're decades worth of legs of that's and that's the point, Stamina. That is the point. Dune is fucking amazing, but I don't know if Dune has the legs that Star Wars has to tell all these stories that Star Wars is able to do. Star Wars is not even done. We're in one era of Star Wars that we just can't get the fuck away from, and that's the Skywalker era. That is one era of Star Wars. One. So that's just like, we've got to move. We've got to move. Jakku. That's where the fuck she's from. Thank you, Gray. Fucking Jakku. That's where she's from. So, yeah, and then D-Sizzle said, got young Force-sensitive Jason. Yeah, you got whole fucking Force-sensitive Jason. His dad is a Jedi. But Ahsoka trained Sabine. Right. SP Flash said the fact that she was able to counteract Kylo's mind probe. I mean, yeah, all of it. Stamina said unearned moments. That's why that was my hang up. Yeah, definitely unearned. Definitely unearned. Gray said Rey and Sabine got a Matrix jack implant in the back of their heads. And then D Stizzle said Dave wants 2 hero saber wielders versus 2 villainous ones. I just want better stories. That's it. I just want better stories. I mean, we got a lot of content coming out this year, as far as especially around this summer time. You know, we've got Planet of the Apes coming out in May. We've got House of Dragon coming out this summer. We've got Invincible currently going on. If you're not watching Invincible, what the fuck are you doing? Invincible is great right now. This season is, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. You've got Invincible going on right now. You've got Deadpool coming out. You've got Acolyte, that's coming out. There's a couple of other projects too that are going to be coming out this year, so we've got a lot to look forward to. X-Men 97 is currently on. X-Men 97 is fucking phenomenal. I thought those first 2 episodes were fucking great. It really feels like we did not leave. We're picking up right where we left off in the 90s, and that's the way you should do it. That's like the tweet I shared the other day of Thugnificent. Somebody put that tweet from the Boondocks of Thugnificent, and they said, you know, after watching these first 2 episodes of X-Men 97, I'm starting to think, what the fuck this nigga do to make them so mad? That shit is so funny. So don't know what is going on, you know, all that stuff. But X-Men 97, we're going to talk about the Bo stuff when I have them here. X-Men 97, yes, The Boys. Thank you, Stamina. The Boys season 4. If you haven't watched The Boys, again, what the fuck are you doing? Great. The Boys is coming. So it's we've got some good stuff right now. Some good projects coming out, some good content that, of course, I'm going to be here covering with all you guys. I've got, like I said, my notifications back on, so I have all the news constantly coming to my phone. So if there's something that I want to jump on and talk about, I'm definitely going to do so. But I definitely wanted to come on, talk about Eyes of Wakanda, which with everyone. I wanted to come on and just talk about what we know so far and just let you guys know that I'm back. The mic sounds good. I'm back. Everything is the way it needs to be in here. I have it set up the way I want in here until I move. I don't move till January time, December time. So until I move and I redo the studio and things in my new house. But as far as the rest of this time goes here this year, I am back to my streaming schedule. So please expect to see the streams back on as they regularly are. A lot of the time, unless it's just Wednesday or Thursday, it will be just myself. And even on some Wednesdays and Thursdays, it will be just myself. But Corey and Q are still here. And I'm sure they're going to like their areas a lot more as well. So I'm back. We're going to do this thing. I appreciate all of you guys being here on this stream, and I'm going to cover some of the news and things that come out in these coming days and some of that past news that we missed with these two in the coming streams. So expect to see me this coming week back on the streams, and I do appreciate everybody again. Like I said, thank you so much. Trying to make this thing to be the thing that I'm doing with you guys 24/7. So I definitely appreciate it. But as always, for sure, thumbs up thank you, Chill. Thumbs up this stream. Please like this stream. Subscribe if you have not subscribed. Subscribe to this channel if you are not subscribed. I would really appreciate that subscription button. Share this channel if you have not shared this channel to other people out there that would like to join. Yes, Raymond, I know you know what, Raymond? I knew you were going to be the one that says that. I knew you were going to be the one that says, oh, you always say that. Bro, I told you, we've been dealing with shit. The microphone's been fucked up. The audio, you weren't here last night. Gray was here last night. Gray can tell you. Last night I came on to stream. Audio couldn't hear anything, nothing at all like that. Couldn't hear anything. Raymond said that's what I'm here for. Couldn't hear anything. It was all bad. And I just got the studio. Like, we rearranged everything. We got a big desk out of here. That was Henry's desk. We got Henry's desk out of here. Got a smaller desk in here. Changed a lot of the lighting. There's a lot we had to do. So I'm sorry, but this time I'm for real. I am back. I'm back, I promise you. So we appreciate it. But for sure, going to be here. I'm not going to abandon you anymore. I'm here, Raymond. Don't worry, I'm here. So I appreciate everybody. But like, subscribe, share with your friends. Share this stream. Share the channel. Share whatever. Trying to get more subscribers in here. Trying to get more views and more people to join this community as possible, as fast as possible as we can. We want to build this thing. So I appreciate everybody. I don't think there was anything else. I think that was it. Yeah. So like, subscribe, share with your friends. Appreciate all of you guys. I'll be joining you guys again with more Eyes of Wakanda news and the other news. I will see you guys all in the next video. Yeah, whatever, Raymond. Peace out. See you guys later.